Hello and welcome to the live lounge here in Portsmouth for the evening session here at the MODUS Super Series. Tonight sees the beginning of Group B, where 3 from 5 will make their way through to Saturday night's session. Earlier on this afternoon, Group C got underway. Chris Mason was watching all the action down in the commentary box, and what a session we enjoyed.
Yes, Scotty Baker was absolutely outstanding going into that final match, averaging nearly 98 for the day. That's some of the highest numbers we've ever seen here at the Super Series. However, he is on level points with 2 other players. It was just the most remarkable session. 3 players on 8 points, 3 players on 2 points.
It really was an absorbing session. This is the table then at the halfway point of that group. Scott Baker being joined by Willie Borland and Peter Hudson on 8 points. And Peter Hudson getting there courtesy of beating Baker in that final game of the session. Yeah,
Peter again went under the radar. Nico mentioned it this afternoon in commentary. You don't really realise he's winning all these games because he's not doing it in the same kind of fashion Willie Borland and Scott Baker were doing. But yeah, it's looking absolutely brilliant for tomorrow. The 2 groups have become separated. So what we're looking at out of this group, remember, it's Group C, only the top 2 qualify. So, yeah, it's all to play for.
And that is going to be our focus tomorrow afternoon from 1 o'clock on the Super Series YouTube channel, then from 3 here on Sporty Stuff TV. So let's see how the week's progressed so far, because we've already got 1 confirmed finalist for Saturday evening. That was Christian Kiss. He won Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday respectively. And tonight our final group of the week gets underway. And we're looking forward to this Group B, aren't we?
Yeah, it has the potential to be equally as good as today's Group C. We've got 5 fabulous players in action. We got to know Blommer and Drac a little bit more across Group A, and they're going to be a threat to Osborne, Lipscomb and Furness, that's for sure.
Is the biggest question for Kevin Blommer how he responds to yesterday?
Yeah, he seems a very level-headed character, and nothing seems to bother him too much. He plays at his own tempo, he's got his own way of doing things, and you know, it nearly worked for him. Listen, he only missed out on Group A by a former world champion, and he's on debut.
Colin Osborne, the headline name, always is when he's here at the Super Series. He's got this level of legendhood around these parts now. Yeah,
listen, he's a fabulous player, and he seems to be quite happy with what he's doing. He's doing a good mix of ADC, Super Series, Challenge Tour, bit of WDF. His game's in a good place, and when you look at his running average, which we're going to take a look at, it's very impressive. It's right up there with the best of them here at the Super Series.
We're always impressed with Colin Osborne, but other bookies impressed with Colin Osborne. This is what they think in terms of the outright betting for Group B. He goes off, perhaps unsurprisingly, as the 7-4 favourite, but maybe in that middle portion, they're struggling to maybe guess who the other players may be to be that real challenger towards them at the top.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Adam Lipscomb get through this group. He missed out narrowly last time here. I like Furness at 3-1. I think he's the value. I totally understand why Osborne's the 7-4, and your short price punters will probably be all over that. Can make a case for Blommer as well. We've seen enough of him across Group A to say that he could cause problems here. Hence he's the same price as Ryan Furness. And remember, Ryan Furness is proven in the Super Series.
Martijn Dract is 5-1. Do you feel like we've yet to see the best of him yet this week?
Yeah, totally. I've watched him play a lot. I watched him play in a host nation qualifier on the Euro Tour. Very, very impressive player, and I think he's just sort of finding his feet here. He could come out of the pack, you know, and if not win this group, certainly find himself in the top 3, and that will be enough to get into Saturday night's final.
Well, it's that part of the programme where we see what Chris Mason thinks about the evening's action. Well, the Asset Acker didn't land earlier, so a bit of pressure.
Yeah, I've got a chance to match Nico's 14-1, which landed in the week. I've got a bit ambitious. Lipscomb, most 180s. What we know from Blommer, he'll either hit a few in a match or doesn't hit any at all. So I thought that was a big price at 5-2. A little bit more sensible. Osborne against Dract, minus 1.5, so 4-2 or better in that one. And then the final one, Lipscomb against Furness, total 180s. I think this has got 6 legs in it, over 1.5 at evens.
So 14-1, Aces, Acker, 18+ B, gambleaware.org. No pressure at all, Mace. That is for sure. Well, Kevin Blommer's in our first game of the session. He takes on Adam Lipscomb. Let's have a look and see how Kevin's got on this week. It was a debut for him in this competition. And in terms of what he's done, a running average of 87.42, checkout ratio of 37.21. That's just above that par for the course we like to talk about.
Absolutely, and that's not far off Colin Osborne's all-time stats here. So that just shows you why he's in with such a shout, and no doubt the odds compilers have found their way to that data as well, and that's why they've got him at 3-1. I'm impressed with him.
Kevin Blom involved in the game against Adam Lipscomb, local favourite from around here. And I've heard there's a few pubs in around this local area that are going to be tuning into the action this evening. And there could be a few here on Saturday if he qualifies.
Well, there'll be a few empty pubs in the area if he manages to qualify, because the vast majority of his friends and family will be here on Saturday night.
Well, let's see what happens then in Group B. Game 1 is Kevin Blommer up against Adam Lipscomb. Chris Mason's going to make his way down to the commentary box to describe all the action in the company of Paul Nicholson. Hello, Paul.
Good evening, Henry, and good evening to everybody tuning in live on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. Thanks for making us your pit stop for darting delights here on Thursday evening. And it's good to see Kevin Blommer back at the hockey. I'm sure he's had plenty of time today to absorb what happened in Group A. But this is a big welcome to the big lad from Portsmouth. He's on home turf. The 31-year-old will now try and take out this 34-year-old who, in the course of Group A, really impressed us all. He's on debut this week. And the fact that he amounted 22 points in his debut campaign in the three-day group just goes to show what he can do. Danny McNamara is your referee for the following 10 matches, which you will have for Group B action tonight. I'm the asset Paul Nicholson. This is Mace the Ace Chris Mason. And apparently there's a big baby on the stage. And I'm not talking metaphorically. Actually, I am. 100. I'm just kidding. That's big baby. Adam Lipscomb.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, everybody. And welcome along, all of our viewers 96. On Sporty Stuff TV in the UK and those outside watching on our YouTube channel. Well, you can get probably 2 different characters up there.
100. Well, you mentioned it. He's either going to get a stack or none. So, hold on to your hats. He's going to get a stack. 140. And the reason we say that is because yesterday he had 5 games. One of them, he amassed 3 180s. In the other 4, how many?
3.
93. Yeah, he got none in the other 4.
Yeah.
So it's 3 in one game or none at all.
Yeah, that's pretty much how he plays. There's 1 all in the 180s. I mean, I went risky, never back the early kickoff. There you go. I can't help myself.
60 for Bull for the first leg. That's right in the middle. And that one
95. Adam, you require 8.
I just thought 5 to 2 was too big, Paul.
Game shot of the first leg.
Well,
Adam
it's
Lipscomb.
very early in our schedule for tonight. And the tail of the tape for the day has been speed.
Second leg, Kevin.
We had it all afternoon and early evening with the likes of Scott Baker.
Well, when Kevin Painter's your slowest player in the group, you know you're in a quick group because he does not hang around.
Only the 1 win for KP this afternoon. And he's got a lot of work to do tomorrow if he's going to find the top 2 spot. It's unlikely, but not impossible. But as for Blommer, he now, after progressing from Group A, has a chance to get into Saturday night with Christian Kist, his
96.
nemesis. And he has to get into the top 3 in this group. So 2 people will be eliminated from this group over the course of tonight
60.
and tomorrow.
Yeah, this is the group. Well, this is the reward for finishing in 2nd and 3rd in Group A. Coming into this group where there is 5 players and that 60% chance to qualify.
140.
I think this man Blommer will qualify.
I agree.
I think we've seen enough of him. When they put up them stats, Nico, it is close to Collins' all-time stats.
It's what we expect from people who have success here. If you're in that 17 darts per leg range, and let's face it, 37% on doubles, that is quite useful.
Yeah. Not quite as useful
77.
as Scott Baker today.
Not quite. We'll talk about his stats when we come back tomorrow afternoon from 1 o'clock.
Yeah, make sure you join us.
85. Kevin, you require 138.
We're on our MODUS Super Series YouTube channel from 1 p.m. And then we'll be joined by our friends at Sporty Stuff from 3.
$58.
The more I look at Kevin Blommer, the more I'm seeing a little bit of Wesley Harms in him. Same sort of side-on eye alignment.
Wonder if he walks around with
44.
fingerless gloves on
Kevin,
in the
you
summer.
require 80.
Probably not.
40.
He's made a bit of a meal
Adam, you
of that.
require
He
138.
And Adam's got a freebie here. Stay there. Double 9.
120.
Almost cashes in the freebie there.
Kevin, you
2-0.
require 40.
I'm not sure how much Blommer would have known about Lipscomb, but trust me, he knows plenty about him already. And we're only 2 legs deep.
30.
Ooh.
Adam, you
Might know a little
require
bit more about him
18.
in a second. That shouldn't
Game
have
shown on the
happened.
second leg. Adam
But
Lipscomb.
Adam laps it up. I think it's really funny that on the back of his dart shirt there is a caricature
Third
that
leg
says
Adam
Big
to
Baby,
throw
and the
first.
baby's got a
Game on.
tattoo. Dart players here.
80. $93.
And I should imagine with Adam, I mean, everyone's disappointed when they don't make it through the Saturday night, but he was
60.
devastated. And I can already tell that he's obviously been putting in the graft because he's playing very well.
Do you think it hurts more for the players who are very close to here because there is this
134.
likelihood that if you qualify for a Saturday night, the first call you're going to make when you get there is who's coming.
Yeah, exactly that. And
60.
listen, when you're a local player, you just want it. And there's you know, you would have had it when you played in tournaments and county, and people get the chance to come and show their support for you. And he's a real popular guy.
56.
Yeah, I met him for the second time today. He gladly reminded me that I did an exhibition in one of his locals in
57.
Portchester. It was 9 years ago on my birthday, because that's the kind of guy I am. I work on my birthday. But we had a lovely night, and
Did he beat you?
he didn't.
Ah.
He probably would now, though.
190.
Blommer's gone ahead in the 180 shots. 2-1. Leaves himself on double 19 to get his first leg of the evening.
50. Kevin, you
He's got
require
16
38.
180s for the week now, has Kevin.
Yeah, he averaged. I mean, he's averaging around one per game. Well, it was 14 180s in 15 matches, but as
22.
Paul has already highlighted it, it's not quite like that with him. It's a load in one and then nothing for ages, then a load in one. It's quite a strange stat. It's a little deceiving. We
140.
just tried to
Kevin, you
catch the
require
bookies out.
16.
Doubling so far for Kevin. Not great. Nothing from 7.
And this has to go
Oh, how does he find this? He's going to need a sat-nav.
because Lipscomb's 2 from 3.
Game shown the third
Ooh,
leg.
that's a good
Kevin
dart.
Blummer.
That was a good dart.
I think he understands how good that was because
Fourth leg, Kevin
from our
to
cameras,
throw
that
first.
looked like a nightmare
Game on.
to find.
Well, it didn't look possible unless he went all the way right, which he did do just to find an angle
59.
in, but making the adjustments to land that target when it wasn't like it was the other way around where he was
45.
bumping in.
Looked pretty good at the start of the match, did Adam? And sometimes when that adrenaline's pumping, it can be very useful at the start of a match, but you've got to be able to play it quite
42.
placid when it dissipates. Now, he was first in the building tonight. Ryan Finesse joined him shortly
85.
after. Good pals. Played a lot of stuff down here on the south coast.
Yeah, play a lot of stuff together, of course. And that is nice. And they'll both be playing county on Sunday. And if one of them wins it, they may
60.
be playing county with a little bit of a sore head.
Who's the county game against? Any ideas?
Cornwall.
100.
It's not, it's not away, is it?
No. And I wouldn't have thought so.
Lovely part of the country, but that road never ends.
Yeah. It's beautiful down there. Liscard and Lou.
140.
Kevin's got to be careful with that follow through on dart 3 because it's starting to get a little bit ragged.
60.
He can remain smooth throughout all 3 darts. He can't go far wrong, but the last thing he needs is that shoulder to start twitching upwards.
Yeah, and I've noticed he's just trying to lift the head slightly.
96.
And that's something that we've seen with Johnny Clayton over the years. He's perfected it, but it's not something that changes. It's not
83.
in and out. It's just
Kevin, you
part of his
require
game.
104.
It's consistent.
It wasn't there for Kevin earlier in the week.
No.
We can testify to that.
Oh, Adam. We'll be coming back. First start will be at treble 18.
56. Adam, you require 128.
It's the single. It'll be treble 20 ball. Oh.
Well, as Jack and Jill said, well.
84. Check
61st
78.
on a 1-2
Kevin, you
hit.
require 48.
Yeah, he's just had a look and realised what he's done.
Should pay the price for that because that's the kind of mistake that he should be punished for, really.
I have a feeling he will be.
He's had a real
16.
nightmare in the bottom left corner.
Adam,
hasn't
you
he?
require
And that
50.
started to come in, Paul, on Wednesday, didn't it?
Double 10. Starting to think about it a little bit for a 3-1 lead. Did he go the
40.
Michael Smith approach there for treble 10,
Kevin, you
double 10?
require 32.
Nothing paid off there for Big Baby. There's a line I never thought I'd see in my life.
Game
And
shot
it's
on the fourth
2-2.
leg, Kevin
It's not the
Blummer.
highest quality game, but there are signs here that both of these guys really want this
Fifth
week.
leg, Adam to
And I
throw
don't
first.
blame them because
Game
they've
on.
got the shortest route to the finals.
Yeah. And they've just got to avoid wanting it a little bit too much.
26.
And there's an example of wanting it too much.
For all of our darts fans out there, Chris, you'll know the answer to this.
96.
There is a nickname for 26, isn't there?
Well, there's a few, isn't there? There's
Bed and breakfast.
yeah, which it used to
100.
cross 2 and 6, which is why they call it half a crown. A load of rubbish. That's another one. Oh no, that was you're a load of rubbish. That's what I used to get chanted.
57.
I'd get back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal. Yeah, we got some fun ones in the pub if they sort of go 180 and then follow it with 26.
78.
We go, oh, back to normal. Welcome back. This is a must-win leg. He's got a hold here, Adam. Because one thing we did
41.
learn from Blommer, he's a good front runner.
Yes, he is. He got off to a really good start on Monday by picking up 10 points from 10.
78.
But his start on Tuesday, game-wise, much better, higher level. What we're starting to learn from Kevin here is that not necessarily is he a nighttime player. Not yet.
134.
He could have the dreaded dart lag here this week where he's been up at probably 6:30 in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today he's probably woken up at 6:30 thinking, oh, I can
What
stay
am I-
in bed
yeah.
for another 12 hours.
A bit
27.
like we do. Well, we can stay in bed for another couple of hours, but yeah, it's hard enough for us just to make the adjustment. When you're so used to getting up so early.
Mark Webster used to teach me on tour that no matter when you
97.
play, especially the big TV games, always get the right sleep prior to that. Even if you've got to sleep for an extra couple of hours in the afternoon. He was
121.
so right about it.
Kevin, you require 76.
No wonder it didn't go for me, Nico. Sleep never happened. Almost allergic to it.
Double top for Blommer.
Game
And
shot
that
on
is
the
the
fifth
best
leg,
dart
Kevin Blummer.
of this contest so far because it gives Kevin a break of throw and a chance to serve it out.
Sixth leg, Kevin to
3 on the
throw
spin
first.
after Adam
Game
found
on.
himself 2-0 up. He's not been able to dominate the game. And when you are 2-0 up, that's when you should really be putting your foot on the throat.
You know, sometimes you can read
80.
a player without reading them too deeply. And your genetics will give you away. Now, if I look at the complexion of Kevin tonight,
100.
he's fair-skinned, but sometimes, and in most cases, people of that complexion, if they get a bit nervous, they go rosy-cheeked.
Yeah, they'll flush up a bit, won't they?
They used to
57.
go red on the neck. It's one of my old county nicknames, Redneck.
82.
I was thinking about this. We had many conversations about players' body language, and
84.
Adam, you could almost just look at him, turn the sound off, and remove that split screen, and I could almost tell you in a range
54.
of what he's hitting. And when we say why that's a negative, because it gives your opponent confidence. They build on that.
Yes, they do. First start has not been brilliant in this contest for Kevin. He's been searching for
96.
scores throughout.
And Adam needs a big one here.
87.
Conditions in there are absolutely perfect.
Oh, they are.
We've been in there a couple of times today to check out the conditions, and honestly, it's faultless. At this time of year, there is a risk that the heat can permeate the walls and the roof, but I
89.
swear that the
Well, I
way
think-
it's been organised, it's so good in there.
I think this building is so big and it's such a high ceiling that we're not getting that radiated
58.
heat that we normally
Kevin,
associate
you require
coming through
95.
the roof. I mean, you go into your loft in the summer. Poof.
Yeah. Double 19. You can power it through potentially right or left.
57.
Gets neither.
Adam, you require
And this was at the
120.
First dart thrown at it. Can he pull one out the fire? Tops.
80.
Oh, the wire.
Bent it.
Kevin, you
clattered off
require
of it.
38.
Like a Chris Smalling header from last night for Roma. Hit the bar. Double 16. Been up and down in this region in this first game of the night.
He's giving that a long look, isn't he, Nico?
Telling it off. Is he hitting it over the top? He
Game,
is.
shot,
And he's getting
and
a
a match,
first
Kevin
2
Blommer.
points of the campaign, and he worked super hard for that. It was not vintage Kevin Blommer from what we've seen over the course of the week, but it is 2 points to start things off. And he didn't have a great average. He didn't have a great percentage on the checkouts, but what he has got is a first win, and he's on the ladder. When we come back after the break, it will be Ryan Finesse from Salisbury taking on one of the other graduates from Group A, Martijn Dracht.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where a promising start never really materialised in the end for Adam Lipscomb, succumbing 4-2 to Kevin Blommer, which means already Ace Izaka is in the mud. Anyway, moving on to game 2, Ryan Finesse up against Martijn Drack. Let's have a look then and see Martijn's stats for the week so far. So these are, sorry, my apologies, these all-time stats, running an average just under 85 there and an impressive checkout ratio as well. So looking forward to this one. He takes on Ryan Finesse, a player that we've seen here on a number of occasions, and as you can see, once again, in one of his funky golf shirts. Watching this one in the comms box, here's Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason.
Thanks for that, Henry. I have a long memory, young man.
That was an evil laugh, Mace.
It was. Well, I did go for the early kickoff, and we all know what happens when you do the 12:30 kickoff. The slip ends up in the bin. Well, I'm looking forward to this one, Nico. I think this has a good dynamic to it. Both quick players. It'll have a nice little tempo to this one.
Yeah, I agree. I like Ryan Finesse. Been watching him for a good 18 months now. Got some talent and a weekly win down in Southampton.
Tell you who'd like that shirt. Peter Manley.
Absolutely. It's got flamingos all over it. And he loves a flamingo.
First leg, Ryan, to throw
The
first.
story of
Game on.
how that started?
He got married at the Flamingo in Vegas, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
You ever heard about the Flamingo he bought in Germany?
No.
100.
2010. Went for a Chinese in Dinslaken, Germany. Me and Robert Thornton thought it would be a good idea to go out with Andy Smith and Terry Jenkins.
83.
All you can eat buffet?
Yep. Andy was in his element, and we were queuing up to get in the restaurant with Peter Manley. And the place was called the Flamingo. Great name for a Chinese restaurant, by the way.
97.
And they had this thing that was a flamingo. I didn't want to say a statue because it was removable. And Peter Manley bought it for €200. How he got that home on the flight, I've got absolutely no idea.
It's not going in your hand luggage, is it?
140.
It's about 4 foot tall. It's bigger than the trophy for the weekend. That is one flashy shirt, right? I'll give you that.
100.
Yeah, it's from a driving range place that also has a big golf shop next to it. Not too far away from here.
95.
I did try to contact them because they are a bit of me.
Yeah, I can see you in that.
100.
I don't know what he's got in store for the next couple of days, potentially. If he makes the Saturday, I'll definitely see something different tomorrow, I'm sure.
126.
Good start from Ryan on a two-darter after 12.
Yeah, both. Both on a two-darter after 12. First dibs to Finesse. How's his doubling?
32. Martijn, you require 57.
Same question, Martijn. He's on tops now. And that
Game shot of
double
the first leg.
has given him
Martijn
so
Drack.
many problems this week. But not right now.
Yeah, he's had some absolute nightmares,
Second leg,
especially if
Martijn
it's
to
not too
throw
bad if it's not
first. Game
close,
on.
but if he goes close, and it's just not a marker for him. But I tell you what, he is finding that treble 20 with some regularity.
137.
Do you think he's been better in the first half of a session than the second half?
Yeah, it was something that you picked up on, but kept relatively quiet about on day
140.
one, and day 2 was the same. His levels certainly peak in
58.
the middle matches.
Does that change when you play
It may,
in a different dynamic in Group B?
yeah, I think it may be just.
96.
Listen, when you're not used to playing at that time of the morning, so if you've not slept well, you will just not necessarily physically fatigue, but you're mentally fatigued, especially in that group. 'Cause it was
137.
brilliant for us, horrible for them.
This is hard work. We have likened Group B to
57.
10,000 metre race because it's 2 days, 8 games, whereas
Well, I
Group
think-
C is a half marathon.
96.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's more akin to that, being the fact that it's only 10 matches.
And then Group A, of course, 15 matches, which is
140.
The darting equivalent of a
Marathon
marathon.
Unicorn,
A real slog.
73.
lovely first start. 2 4s for a 2-0 lead.
69.
Put it this way, I've
Ryan Unicorn,
felt less-
68.
tired going to the gym every day than I did playing a Group A for 3 days. 53, so 13 and tops.
Could have been worse. He could have hit the single 5.
48.
Yeah,
Marathon
a bit of a dart on the
Unicorn,
button.
4.
2 twos, never lose. Ooh.
Game shot
not
was like
mad in the
a
hoose.
Marathon Direct.
2-0. One little duck next to Martine's name and zip next to
Curly
Ryan's
Ryan to
for now.
throw first.
He's
Game on.
averaging 93.94, a 5-visit leg in leg 1,
100.
6-visit leg in leg 2, evening out to 16 darts a leg.
Well, Martine's had a somewhat weird week.
135.
It was all right on Monday, picking up 6 points. It was even better on Wednesday, but in between.
100.
He had a streak of 7 matches where he didn't win.
Yeah, he'll be open. It's all right on the night as he's in Group B, and it's all right now.
140.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at all, actually. I know he's halfway through this leg, but he has touched 3 figures for an average for the first time.
83.
And I think something that we spoke about off air earlier today, being involved in this group, considering what happened on Tuesday, is a win.
180.
Absolutely.
The first 180 of the contest does go to the Dutchman.
We'll have to lose in, like you say, 7 consecutive
44.
matches
Marathon Unicorn, 46.
to still end up in Group B. Tells you how well he played on Monday and Wednesday.
That's well
Game
done, and that's
shot
3-0.
Marathon Direct.
He's had different visits every time.
Well, you-
6 visits, 5
Fourth
visits,
leg
now it's
Marathon
4
to
visits.
throw first.
Well,
Game on.
bring on a 3.
Yeah, when you
He nearly hit with 9-darter earlier in the week.
He
He wanted a
did.
double 12.
and it was right on it. Well, we're deep enough in the
95.
match, Paul, to discuss the average, which is bang on 102.
96.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And we have seen some very impressive numbers from certain people this week. 102.04 in Scott Baker's first match this afternoon. That was explosive, to say the least. And we saw 106 plus from Christian Kist.
And Dract has been threatening one of these, hasn't he? A ton-plusser.
140.
Even though he's slightly behind, he's actually got the advantage here. He sensed that a 140 is imminent.
100.
Very unfortunate not to get it.
Well, he squeezed through the gap, but just didn't go in the lipstick.
44.
Should have been on the 19s really there, Paul.
Yeah. 265. 19s are calling. So many decent options down there, whereas the 20s just back you into a bit of a corner if you don't get a treble with the first start.
31.
I would have been a little critical had he gone for the ball of the 25, because lots can go wrong there, and I thought the sensible play is the 15, just to make sure.
105.
Strayed into the treble 2. But when he's having an error, he's putting it right.
139. Ryan, your corner,
If I were him, I would have got that
116.
second dart out of the board really quickly. That was precarious, to say the least.
One of them James Richardsons that went in, went out, and went back in again.
Is this in?
80.
And because it's not, we
Marathon
might have our first
Uruguay,
4-0 of the
40.
night.
Game shot.
great
and a
performance
match
from Martijn
Marathon
Dracht.
Direct.
He has just delivered 60 darts in that match to give himself a 4-0 victory, a 100.2 average. You don't need me to tell you that that's even 15 darters for the 4 legs that have been played. And that's the best performance in a game from him all week long. So that's a statement sent to the rest of Group B by the Dutchman. There's only one more player to introduce to you for the first time tonight, and it is a Super Series legend. Here comes Colin Osborne.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Well, here in our night session at the MODUS Super Series, it was Count Drax spectacular as Martijn Drax gets the better of Ryan Finesse by 4-0, doing so with a 100.2 average. And Ryan Finesse actually, in shaking his hand, actually said, well played, fantastic stuff. So our third game of the evening sees Adam Lipscomb back in action, and he is taking on the man, the myth, and the MODUS Super Series legend, that is Colin Osborne. Let's have a look at some of his stats now. In fact, it's Adam Lipscomb's stats we're going to have a look at now. My apologies there. So here's his stats from a couple of appearances here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. So that is what we've seen from him over the last couple of appearances. Looking to pick up his first win of the session after defeat to Kevin Blommer in the opening match. And watching this one, Chris and Paul.
Thank you, Henry. Well, we just had a bit of a nightmare there talking about Dract. Well, fortunately, Nico is on the button, and you have all the facts and figures from Colin Osborne's performances here at the Super Series.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that has played an awful lot of darts. Now, before we go to his lifetime stats, there is something on the horizon.
First leg, Colin to
Colin
throw
Osborne
first.
this week.
Game on.
If he makes the final, come Saturday night, he will become the player with the most games played in this tournament's history.
140.
Currently, the top man is Robert Owen, with the most weekly wins and played the most games. But Osborne could trump that
100.
if he gets to the final. Now, if he wins this week, he will not only have the most games played, but he will have equally the most wins in a week as well. But 88.3 is a running average. That's really good. He's had a 170 checkout. He's had a 9-darter. He's got 4 weekly titles.
95.
Checkout percentage just shy of 36%. The only thing he has not done is win a Champions Week.
Yep, only thing missing from the Super Series resume is a
99.
Champions Week. Well, maybe it could be this time around. He's in the kind of form
96.
that would suggest it could well happen.
He's gone for a new
They
coloured
are.
stem and a new flight. I like it.
I do.
134.
classy, a bit like him.
Yeah. You know what? It's the colour of a really nice watch you would see to wear in the autumn.
60.
Almost
Colin,
it
you
looks like a
require
really good
73.
Bulgari or something like that.
Not funny. I thought I was the only one that had different watches for different
Game
seasons.
shot of the
but
first leg,
there you
Colin
go.
Osborne.
I rode the Rolex out in the height of summer.
Second leg, Adam to throw first. Game on.
The sub.
I've got a Casio with a calculator.
125.
That's a great start from Aussie. 14
See,
darts.
you like big fancy houses. I like big fancy cars and watches. As my mum used to say,
83.
all for a coat and no knickers, son.
You know me, miss. I'm the kind of person who pays twice as much for a plate that's half the size
Yeah.
when it goes to a restaurant.
85.
And you go somewhere for the day, spend all that money, and want to get off as quick as possible. Golf courses, I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
100.
And it's the same with darts, isn't it? It's the same as golf. You want to do it in as few shots as possible.
Yeah, if you took me once to one of those beautiful courses, not
44.
that I would be allowed to play, but I'd be out there all day for my 500 quid. Don't worry about that.
You'd just be waving people through. You're sitting on the fourth tee. Yeah, you go. I'm just admiring the view here from the top of the course.
140.
Colin's a decent golfer. He's decent
Good
at
at everything, yeah. One of those annoying souls.
What's Lipscomb got to do in this game to
Nine.
get a foothold in this group?
He's quite quick, isn't he, Adam? And Colin is just Colin. He does his preset thing and his little gets up on his toes as he addresses the hockey.
125.
He's not particularly slow, but he won't be rushed. So Adam has very much got to do what we always advise
82.
and
Colin,
just
you're
play his own game and play the
53.
board. And if he gets opportunities, take them.
Osborne will leave tops a lot.
Lit it a lot,
Colin
no.
second
And if he
leg,
keeps hitting it
Colin
like that, I'll
Osborne.
give him a top hat like the back of his shirt, and I'll call him Lord Tops-a-lot.
Curly
2-0,
Cullen to
and
throw first.
Dract was 2-0 up,
Game on.
and he went on to win 4-0. So at ease, so focused, and as far as the mental game, Osborne's got it cracked.
140.
He does something that, or was doing something that I picked up on and had a chat with Mike Gillett about. He used to
60.
start early and try and be too precise, and then so slowly pick up the pace when he gets a bit of momentum. But what I've noticed with Colin of late, he
83.
must be so confident that he's relaxed from the off and he's free flowing. And when Mike Gillett gets like that, that's when he plays his best starts. And that's not an opinion. I've got
140.
stats to back it up.
Yeah, Mike and Colin, two of the nicest guys you could ever meet.
Absolutely. Absolute gentleman. That has to be said. I've not met a bad and down here yet. So
140.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Everybody is just so happy to play here.
60.
I've had ADC
Colin require
qualifiers
138.
all the way through the week. And Colin does play a fair few of the ADC events. He's got himself 6 starts and 138.
60.
well, he'll be playing in the next one because it's not far off of his old stomping ground.
100. Colin, you require
Is that the kind of place
78.
that has a lot of palmos?
It is Middlesbrough.
Beautiful dart from Colin for double 12.
Game shot
And
the third
wow,
leg,
what a
Colin
performance this
Osborne.
is.
3 consecutive 14 darters, Nico. You know what 14
Fourth leg, Adam to
Darts.
throw first. Game on.
divided by 501 is?
It's that. Now just digest that for a
90.
second. Bit of a gap in the averages, a gap in the scoreline, and then we move on to this. Ruthless.
95.
He's hitting everything. Adam's not getting any chances.
And it's not a case of where he's gone an 18 and then a 12
100.
and so on and so forth. This has been solid. 14, 14, 14. Well, you do well to get a 14 in this one.
Oh,
I wouldn't put it past him.
125.
Now, the venue record
81.
in this venue is 115.62.
Yeah.
It's been hit by 2 people. I'm not saying that Colin's going to break it in this match. He's not.
100.
But what I'm saying is, we have players here this week who could, and in these conditions, which are extremely likeable.
85.
Cam Crabtree and Conor Heenan, isn't it?
Correct. The fact that Cam Crabtree got that on his first game is just sickening.
His first game under the lights.
Welcome to the Super Series. He played Matt Jackson, and then 4 legs later, it was venue record time. But I am convinced
82.
that somebody is going to get close to that
145.
all-time record of 118.66 over the next 8 weeks.
Well, the one player I thought was going to blitz it, and he
41.
was on course
Colin,
to
you
do.
require
That was Luke Litchfield.
99.
He was all over that record.
Anyone got a flake? Double top.
79.
This is his first double in the contest.
Adam, you require
It was the one
104.
for the match, and it was for a 15 darter. Is he going to get a darter double? He's not. So Colin will be back to wrap it up. Full zip in emphatic fashion.
38. Colin, you require 20.
Plan B for Osborne. Plan C.
10.
Two
Adam,
of
you
the 3.
require
Right
66.
on the wire, and you can see, despite being 3-0 up, he's absolutely furious.
That's a good thing to be annoyed at
26.
missing, because it shows
Colin,
that
you
he's not
require 10.
at ease with the fact that he's 3-0 up. He knows that with all his experience, He
Game
wants to
shot
get rid of
and
these
a
matches
match.
as soon as
Colin
possible.
Osborne.
It's 2 points for the Wizard, and it's the maximum leg difference in his first game here in week 4 as well. 98.56 is an average we've seen more than 3 or 4 times this week, registered by 4-0 victories. It's another one for the Wizard, and another 4-0 for us tonight, 2 in a row in fact. So when we come back, Kevin Blommer will be back after winning the first game of the night, and he's up against Ryan Finesse, still looking for his first leg here this evening.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, and what a start for Colin Osborne, the Wizard, weaving a spell to get the better of Adam Lipscomb by 4-0. The average in the end, 98.5, but after 3 legs, well, it was in the region of 107. So next up for us, Kevin Blommer up against Ryan Finesse. We've already seen Finesse in action this evening, but let's see how he's been getting on throughout the course of his Super Series career, because he's kind of been with us from the very start back in Southampton in the days of 2021. And as you can see, some really impressive running averages there, which I know the boys in the booth are going to be talking a little bit more about. And he has been one of those regular campaigners here, the man with the Paul Nicholson darts, looking to do the business against Kevin Blommer. In the commentary box, Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason.
Thank you, Henry, and thank you for reminding me. I was rattling my brain because I was telling Nico, well, there's a player, he's here all the time. It is this man, Ryan Finesse, who said to me, could you ask Nico if he's got any of his unicorn, I don't know, they're Gen 1s or Phase 1s?
Yeah, it's the black ones that I used to use for years, actually. And I only have one set left, and they're the mint in box ones.
Yeah, and sadly not going anywhere.
And they are actually the second
Off the production.
of the production now, so
Yeah.
they're actually quite rare. So unfortunately, they're staying in the plastic, Ryan.
Yeah, for
If
your
you
own.
need another set, then you'll have to go onto some sort of auction site to find some.
He's looked everywhere.
He did get another set, and he's very happy with them, but I think he's kind of worried if these ones get
First leg,
aged before
Kevin
he finds
to
another
throw
one.
first.
Because weren't they very much,
Game on.
they're that very thin, ringed type grip, like the Taylor and the
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time Gary Andersons.
Yeah, it's got quite a sharp element to parts of the grip.
115.
And because it's a light dart with a sharp grip, it does tend to wear.
Yeah, there you go.
They were black at the start. They've actually
Didn't
worn
Wadey
down.
have something similar for a while?
119.
They were actually a James Wade dart that they were modelled on, because when I first came onto the scene, I was using James's
That's right.
darts.
Yeah, that's right. I used
57.
very similar for a while, but I just found that my throw would change as the grip wore off the new ones. What I should have done was found an
42.
old second-hand set that were bruised and battered.
Now, Kevin Blommer started the night with a 4-2 victory, averaging 79.37. Coincidentally, exactly the same average as his
99.
opponent in that game, and that doesn't happen very often. And then you've got someone who averages 12 more than that and didn't get a leg in the next game. Finesse 91.68. And he only got 3 darts at a double against Dract.
Yeah, maybe the early nerves starting to settle for Ryan. And how technology has moved on.
45.
Winmore and Red Dragon
Ryan
in their
160.
development, they now have a type of shot blasting that actually can simulate the wear on a dart from being used. And that's what they've done on the MVG dart. So they're
60.
not got that horrible new, brand new feel. Some people love that new feel. I personally don't like it at all. I love an old dart.
That's 6 points, meaning he has to go south.
25. Ryan, you require
Ryan.
100.
Could be first to a double in this leg. And is. That's a nice lie.
60.
Almost just a little bit too
Kevin, you
far
require
away.
160.
Bit too safe.
It's amazing how you can be on a finish and then throw a dart and not be on a
40.
finish.
Ryan, you
Or
require
a
40.
three-darter after that. It's just a weird complex with things like
In
99
from the
and
first leg,
59.
Ryan Furness.
But 1-0 Finesse, first leg of the evening. Things are trending in the right direction all of a
Second
sudden.
leg, Ryan to
Yes.
throw first. Game on.
First max of the night as well. And he does love a max, does Ryan Furness. When he's absolutely on it, he looks irresistible.
96.
He had some great displays down at
Oh.
Southampton with a weekly win down there as well. Some great stuff.
One of the only couple of players here with a weekly win, of course.
37.
Only 4 players that have actually graced a Saturday night here in Portsmouth. Osborne, Finesse, and 2 others.
140.
Well, you can see from the angle of entry, he stands to the right, like Blommer, but his darts straighten up.
60.
Maybe something to do with those perfectly perpendicular flights that he uses. Whereas these foldable ones, they're not 100% perfect. And they do look a little chewed at the top.
41.
We couldn't be having that, Nico, could we?
Nope.
In the bin.
Well, at my height, do you know what I used to do? Because I didn't like the flights coming out of the stems. I didn't like the rings either because I used to get
81.
Robin Hoods with them.
Yeah.
I used to get this flexible nail glue, put it on the bottom of the flight, put them in, and then the flight and the stem would be one. So if I wrecked the flight, the stem was
99.
gone as well.
It's all right when you're getting them for now.
And it all stemmed, no pun intended, from a conversation I had with Mervyn King. And he said, after I beat him,
60. Ryan, you require
can you please
125.
sort out your flights because I'm sick of them falling on the floor. It's the worst thing he could have said to me because after that I started winning tournaments.
And he's gone for ball there.
101.
Oh, and he's tied it up nicely. It was 16 darter in leg 1 on tops.
57. Ryan, you require
Possible 16
24.
darter on double 12.
In Dutch it's 12, isn't it?
Game shot on the second
Just
leg.
like that.
Ryan Furness.
And speaking of another language, do you know what blommer means?
Third leg, Kevin
I
to
don't.
throw first. Game
I'm
on.
going to take you all the way back to the 1980s, a wonderful time in the world of darts.
It
And there was a
my
one-
favourite time.
There was a wonderful woman in this sport
133.
called Maureen Flowers.
Bloom.
Blommer means flowers.
Yeah.
Is it right
60.
that she was related to Tim Flowers, the goalkeeper,
Ooh.
formerly of Blackburn Rovers?
Yeah, something in the back of my mind is...
95.
Yeah, there's something in my head that tells me yes, because pretty sure she was from that part of the world.
59.
You get it all at darts, you see. You got people named Flowers, people named Blommer, which means flowers, and you get people wearing shirts that look like they're wearing
95.
flowers. It would be the perfect turnaround for Ryan Finesse if he could just
80.
get that big win and stop his leg difference from suffering at the very start of the campaign.
Yeah, well, he'd cancel it straight out here with a 4-0 win, which is not looking likely, especially after that visit.
136.
You know, up until game 13 in Group A, Kevin had only lost one match to
98.
Christian Kist.
Kevin, you're
And then all of a sudden he
42.
lost to Martijn Dracht. Then he lost the next two as well.
I think once he'd
26.
realised that winning Group A was out of his grasp, I think he just mentally switched off because his performance level dropped off massively.
Yeah, he was a bit like one of those old lemmings in those
93.
computer games.
Kevin, you require 16.
Searching around and all of a sudden it's a cliff edge and it goes, wee, over the edge.
Game shot on the third
Well, we've
leg.
seen
Kevin
it from
Blummer.
Conan Whitehead, and well, I know you love the numbers, Nico.
Fourth leg,
You'd
Ryan
be
to
happy
throw
know
first.
all
Game
three
on.
have been won in 16.
It's good for my OCD, that you see. I like things orderly. It's no wonder I like Japan.
140.
You are the most orderly person I've ever met.
I was telling you earlier, wasn't I, about the fact that I'd never had a speeding ticket.
133.
And I've been driving since I was 25.
See, this is where our personalities differ. I'm disappointed in you.
96.
In one side of me is like, yeah, fair play, respect, and then the other side is just so disappointed, Nico.
Don't worry if it ever
Especially
happens.
because you had a bit of a mad period in your life.
Oh, yeah.
48.
Plenty of madness, that's for sure. But if I ever get one,
I suppose our levels of madness are a little bit different.
just a little. If I ever get a speeding ticket, I promise you I'll frame it and I'll send you a copy.
I'll pay for it, don't worry.
I think the only speedster from this afternoon who's going to be licking his chops right now is Scott Baker, who was irresistible this afternoon. But
100.
having said that, there is a chance that he might not qualify tomorrow if he just slows down.
Well, it was incredible that his performances, and at
95.
times, I said it to Henry at the top, was, you know, he won the same amount of matches as Peter Hudson, but like Peter Hudson did the other day, he just went under the radar. Yeah,
100.
there's one player
Ryan, you
that
require 108.
just stood out from the rest. Yeah, well, maybe not Willie Borland, but yeah, incredible to think.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Ryan Furness.
Sorry, Nico. 15.
You disappoint me, Ryan. In a good way.
Fifth leg, Kevin to
Because
throw
that 15
first.
darter has
Game
broken
on.
the streak of 16s. But on the bright side, you are 3-1 up now. And all of a sudden, he's starting to look good.
140.
Yeah, he's just starting to maybe go through the gears. He's Not played for a while, has he, on the Super Series
58.
stage? So it always takes a little bit of time. A couple of the players are beginning to sweat up a bit, Nico. And
96.
you were out there a little earlier, weren't you, in interviewing or sitting down having a chat with Colin Osborne. That will be on our Super Series YouTube channel at some point.
46.
I have a feeling, because the atmosphere and the heat in the playing area is spot on. The temperature outside has dipped,
133.
but I have a feeling that the temperature in the practice room might be a bit higher.
Or a bit cooler, because we do have aircon in there, and maybe that
140.
difference in
Henry
heat
War 132.
is being exaggerated because they're going from cool to
Yeah,
slightly warmer.
that's a difficult thing to get right.
100.
And of course, the temperature control in the practice room has to be agreed by everybody.
Yeah,
When I was in the practice room with Tony O'Shea, he wanted the air conditioning on all the time.
I know.
100.
I had to-
Kevin
I was
War
lying.
32.
Air conditioning on, mate. Yes, pal. Yep.
Game shot on the fifth
There we
leg.
go.
Kevin Blummer.
Kevin Blommer ruining the streak as well. We are getting better.
Yes.
We've gone from 16s to 15 to
Six
13.
leg Ryan to throw first. Game on.
Well, considering the level of legs that we've had so far,
Oh,
the averages almost don't
98.
make sense.
Well, in leg one, it was Kevin that was left wanting and was well back, and then in leg
57.
two, it was the same for Ryan, and that's brought the averages down for both from where you'd expect to see them.
Well, one thing Ryan is doing is he's putting in that second maximum on top of
180.
staying in that low to mid 90s range. And if you can do that, you will cause the people in this group problems.
59.
It's causing Blommer a few problems.
Anything but rosy for Blommer.
125.
Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Be a good name for a lady dart player, that wouldn't it? Poison Ivy.
100. Ryan Uruguay
Bit
98.
sinister. 98 and plenty of time as well.
78.
That'll do.
Yeah,
He didn't
it works.
want to leave double 10, but that will do. And if he hits that double 10 with the first dart, it will be his 13 darter.
100.
And he will
Ryan
add his
Uruguay
name to
20.
the list of people who have beaten Kevin Blommer this week. There haven't been many.
Game.
And he
shot
has added his
and
name
a
to it
match,
with the only
Ryan
14
Furness.
darter of the contest. He played really well there, did Ryan Finesse, averaging 93.34. His doubles were excellent, and he did get a high check out of 108, so there was a lot to admire there, especially with the only maximums in the match as well. So he's on the board with 2 points, and it's Adam Lipscomb who is the only person without points so far, but Martijn Dracht and Colin Osborne, one of those players, will add to their total in our fifth game after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Ryan Finesse pick up his first victory of the evening, getting the better of Kevin Blommer by 4 legs to 2, doing so at a 93.34 average, and the higher check of the night, the 108. Right, next up for us, Martijn Dracht is in action up against Colin Osborne, the all-time legend of this competition. These are his stats then throughout the course of the duration of his Super Series / Live League career. He's been pretty much never present here with us right from the start, and included in and amongst those stats too is a 9-dart finish back at the old venue in Southampton. And when you consider the sample size that we have on offer for Colin, those are some very impressive stats indeed. He takes on Martijn Dracht. Watching this one, Paul and Chris.
Thanks, Henry. That was a really good insight into what he's done in his Live League / MODUS Super Series career. He's won in both venues, and my co-commentator sit to my left has just marvelled at the amount of 180s that he's hit in his career.
Yeah, I think that's more than I've hit in the last 10 years.
He has it a lot.
Yeah, 515. I'll keep a note of that.
Now look at that. The custom dart that Martijn Dracht is using. 23.5 grams. Talk about precision these days in darts. Well, having
First
said
leg,
that,
Martijn
Michael
to
van
throw
Gerwen,
first.
who is using his exact darts at the minute, they're a 21.5, so
Yeah.
half-gram darts are starting to catch on.
I suppose when you play that much and you're that precise, and that extra half
55.
on or off makes a lot of difference in terms of what I'd call your natural throw and its landing position. Hence the reason why
85.
weight of darts are so different nowadays, and how many different weights you can get. They will generally fit your speed of
41.
throw and speed of release.
I always tend to tell people that when they're looking for the right equipment, you've got to put the right equipment into your grip.
Yeah.
You don't change your grip for the
45.
equipment.
No, and that's what you see. They see all these flashy darts and they think, you know, they see someone play well with them and they like the look of them. And yet, when it actually comes down to it,
140.
you're then... I always say everyone's got a different way of holding a pen. It's no different in darts.
Every grip is like a fingerprint, that's for sure.
97.
Yep.
Colin's always used a barrel like this, which has a uniform grip from top to bottom, but
And a bit of shape.
yeah, over the course of time, he's taken weight off the
83.
nose end to tailor this new throw that he's cultivated for himself.
Yeah, it used to be a fair bit flatter, didn't it?
55.
When we see another angle of that dart, you'll see that they don't actually sit up as much as they look from this angle.
80.
There used to be someone who would get them to land quite upright. If you look at the 2009 UK Open, for instance, where he made the final, the darts would land probably a good 20 degrees steeper than this.
99.
reinventing his game
102.
over the last 4 or 5 years, he feels more comfortable stacking them on top of each other and having that flat angle. He utilised...
Well, they're at such a... They're so flat that you can actually
70.
go below or above,
On your
can't they?
bar 120.
He is a wizard. He can do whatever he wants.
Can he hit tops?
100.
Not on this occasion. That
Right
60
on your
was so
wire
pretty, wasn't it?
32.
Right in the middle.
Game
But he
shot on the
won't
first
think that
leg,
that's pretty because
Dracht.
Martijn Dracht takes the lead. And so far tonight, he hasn't lost a leg.
Second leg, Colin to throw first. Game on.
That'll make you feel pretty good.
And Colin, although experienced, I always found playing someone that I knew absolutely
140.
sometimes quite hard to get my head around until I'd had a couple of legs with
60.
them just to try and work them out. Let's have another look from a different angle. There you can see that. From my camera on the left, they look like they sit up, but as you can see from this
60.
more eye-line type angle, they actually are below horizontal.
There you can see Martins are exactly the opposite.
Yep.
83.
They have the wibble through the air and they go in upright.
As they're starting to correct. That's just ideal.
Got to be a 140 that.
100.
Just over pitch dart 3, but it was a tiny bit less in the air. That was just going to cushion its way over the top of dart 1 or dart 2.
Yeah, just going to drop on it, isn't it?
100.
Such a great camera to illustrate what they're trying to do in the scoring phase. He's also, over the last couple of years, not deviated away from this flight, which has
Is it
a
the
somewhat
59?
rippled effect.
Is it what they call like a dimplex?
Yeah.
They were popular years ago, weren't they?
Yeah. Eric Bristow used to use the dimplex, as did Alan Warren a little.
60. Colin, you require 142.
You either love them or hate them.
Yeah, the famous Harrow's Dimplex Union Jack flight.
That's in.
98.
And he's one of those people who likes treble 18 on 62
Yep.
because he wants to leave something in the northern hemisphere of the board. He wants to leave fours or tops.
138. Colin, you require
Yeah, you won't see him
44.
go 12 double 16.
Game shot on
Beautifully
the second
done for
leg,
1-1.
Colin Osborne.
And that's the shot we call in darts as Motown. 4 tops.
Sure is.
You
Third
know,
leg,
there's a
Martin
one
to
was us,
throw
that.
first.
You know that there's
Game
a
on.
Motown in poker as well. Do you know what hand it is?
I should do.
140.
You're going to kick yourself. It is in the game of Hold'em, by the way, Texas Hold'em. It's not 5-card draw. Or anything like that. It's not a
45.
5-card hand. It's actually the 2 hole cards that you get. Because some of them have got nicknames. When you get a Jack and a 5, it's
96.
Jackson 5.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
And they call it Motown. I wouldn't be surprised if Osborne's really good at poker as well. What we should do is have a
100.
segment with Colin
Yeah.
and say, how good are you at this? And
Yeah.
just give him something to do. He'd be like Mr. Perfect from the WWE back in the 1980s.
95.
He'd be able to throw a pass like an American quarterback, and then he could receive said pass as well.
You can play table tennis, can't you?
Yep, he's really good at the old ping pong. He's a good golfer. Decent
81.
footballer.
Martin, you require
Bound to,
170.
listen, he's indoor sportsman. He's bound to be able to play pool.
We have not had the biggest checkout possible this week. But
135.
the biggest one we have had has come from Dract. 164.
Well, he's just off the pace so far in this match, and it could come down to the fact that he knows very little about Dract.
123.
He's
Martin,
playing
you require
Dract
35.
rather than playing the board. He's going to find himself 2-1 down as he takes a bit of the coating off. That's how close that was.
3.
Took some
Colin, you
coating off the
require
wire.
152.
That's where you want to get that 60, right in the bottom half.
100.
Can get the 60, but
Martin, you require
not until
32.
dart 3. He needs more mistakes from the Dutchman. Isn't moving. Didn't
Yeah,
need
on
to.
the third leg,
mistakes don't
Martin
tend to
Dract.
happen on that side of the board, and
Fourth leg,
That's a
Colin to throw first.
17 dart hold after
Game on.
the 17 dart hold from Colin, and at some point Colin's going to have to go through the gears.
4 games into this group,
32.
we don't have a great deal of information as to who's going to come through it.
No, because 4 of them are on 2 points.
Exactly. We are 25% through the group
60.
at the conclusion of this. One of these players is going to be on 4 points. 3 are going to be on 2, and 1's going to be on 0. This is the great thing about Group B.
97.
It's so short course. You don't know what's going to happen with it until probably the middle part of tomorrow.
And after day 1, you're never really out of it with 3 qualifying.
bit like short course swimming.
43.
After 25 metres, you still don't know who's going to win. That's why you got to stay tuned, you see. I wonder if Colin's any good at swimming.
99.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's just annoyingly good at everything. There's a real ferocity about the throw tonight from Martijn.
140.
It's a lot of confidence.
Definitely confident after winning his first game 4-0. And that's been made to look even better, considering Ryan Finesse has just won against Blommer 4-2.
125.
Problem Colin's got is not getting any real
98.
breathing
Colin,
space in this match to
148.
express himself.
Yeah, it's like he's running through a very narrow alleyway and he's gasping for breath.
60.
He's still going
Martijn
forward, but it's hard.
160.
What a lie.
Like he's running in quicksand.
140. Colin Uruguay 88.
This is a massive moment in the match, Nico.
It really is. Got to guarantee the bullseye. What kind of sauce is this?
63.
The wrong colour.
Martijn Uruguay 20.
Hurt the wire. 555. When he threw that, he thought it was in. There was an extra prod there. And he has one in. That's a big dart for a 3-1 lead against the group favourite. The most experienced player here all week. And the only person to have won a week here in Portsmouth from anybody playing here in week 4.
$60.
When he won that week in a previous series, he beat a certain Aaron Monk in the final.
Aaron now, of course, has a tour card.
140.
Aaron will be hoping that we don't see him again.
Same for Robert Owen.
115.
I'd love to see him, but I don't want to see him here because that means he would have lost his card.
I think Robert is someone who is very proud of his record with us over the last 2 and a bit years.
His bank manager is.
Yeah, he made a lot of money. 5 weekly titles. He found his confidence with us.
100.
Ran with it on the Challenge Tour and into the PDC Pro Tour. And that is something that Colin wants to do as well. He thinks that he's still got gas in the tank, and I believe him. And if there's one thing this wizard can do,
137.
is he can keep the pace at his level. He can be somewhat sneaky and just take that tiny little step back and just make Martijn think for an extra 3 seconds. It didn't work.
180. Colin Uruguay
First max
124.
of this match, and what a time to get it. Forcing Osborne into our first ton plus out of the contest. Needs the button.
99.
He's had 2 looks at it.
Martijn Uruguay
He's had a 25
46.
twice. And that might be that.
$30.
That is a bad dart. Wow, that was not close.
Colin
It's closer to
Uruguay
the treble than the double.
25.
If Osborne can click this 25, oh no. Double 2.
21.
Oh,
Martijn
the dart
Uruguay
there,
16.
Finding the double, he was making sure. Well, he's
Game,
made sure of that.
And the match.
And it is a
Martijn
16 dart leg to win the contest against the favourite to win this group, Colin Osborne. 86-29 for Dracht, 86-89 for Colin. But the 2 points go to the unbeaten Dracht, and he goes top of the table. When we come back, Finesse in action against Lipscomb.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
And if you're lucky enough, you get a selfie of both myself and Chris Mason as well. But what we have seen this evening is a fantastic night of darts at the MODUS Super Series with 5 games down for our evening session, which is why we're going to have the half-time analysis. I could say half-term analysis. That's something completely different. But what we have seen during this half-term for darts is a thrilling Group B so far.
Yeah, well, Group C didn't disappoint this afternoon, and it's just sort of spilled over into this Group B. And yeah, the standard of dart's been great, and it's not gone all the way of Colin Osborne, who was the favourite before the off tonight.
So let's have a look then at what we have then seen so far this evening. It kicked off a 4-2 victory for Kevin Blommer. Both players a little bit nervy in that first game, but then after that, the standard just went up a level.
Yeah, Dract was brilliant against Furness, winning 4-0, but what Ryan did was bounce back really well, and that's what Adam's got to do now, ironically, up against Ryan Furness in our next match. I thought Osborne was fabulous in his opening game, but was just beaten handily by Martijn Dract, who currently tops the table, 2 from 2.
Well, we said, didn't we, about Martijn Dract, are we going to see that top gear level? And we've seen signs of that tonight.
Yeah, and he looks comfortable doing it. Maybe there is more in the locker. I think there's more in the locker. I've certainly seen him play up close and first hand, and yeah, listen, he's playing well within himself right now.
So this is how the table looks then at the halfway stage of the night. As you can see, really competitive. Martijn Dract, the only player on 4 points. Can Ryan Furness feel and count himself a little bit unlucky on 2 because he's played some good stuff tonight?
No, he was handily beaten by Martijn Dract. In fact, at the end of the match, he said to him, "Fair play, great darts." And sometimes that's all you can do. It's not what you do then; it's how you bounce back. And look how he bounced back, and he did it in some fashion, defeating Blommer 4 legs to 2.
Well, coming up now, we're going to see Adam Lipscomb in action up against Ryan Furness. And for Adam, well, this gets to the territory now where the game's just become big.
Yeah, but we've seen it before in this Group B. You're never really quite out of it, no matter what happens. But what he's got to do is take some inspiration from Ryan and how he bounced back from an early defeat. Remember, he was one of the fancied players in this, and he lost his opening game, didn't panic, bounced back. Exactly what Adam's got to do now in this one.
And hopefully the final 5 will be just like the first 5, because we've seen a fantastic night of darts here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We're going to continue now with Lipscomb against Furness. It's a local derby here in Portsmouth. And watching this one alongside Chris Mason in commentary is Paul Nicholson.
Thank you once again, and welcome back to the Oki. And it is a bit of a local derby, this one, if you can count Salisbury versus Portsmouth, the rivalry. When it comes to the South Coast, it's more about Portsmouth and Southampton. But the less said about that kind of rivalry in another sport, the better. But 29-year-old, this is the man from Salisbury. You can't miss him in that pink shirt. And this is the big baby. He'll be hoping that he's not crying like a baby by the end of the night, because so far, no wins from 2 games. But if he can somehow walk away with 2 or 4 points by the end of the night, he will be in with a chance of making the top 3 on Friday night.
First leg, Adam to throw first. Game
Just
on.
remember, we do have the second day of Group B from 10 p.m. tomorrow, so we hope you can join us for that.
100.
But before that, we have the conclusion of Group C. That was amazing this afternoon. Some great darts, especially from the speedsters. But what are we going to get in the second half tonight? If you are all of these players in the group, Mace, let's start with Furness.
140.
What's he going to be happy with going back home tonight? Is he going to be happy with 4? Or is he not going to be happy unless he gets 6?
Well, from my
44.
experience and from doing, well, I don't know how many Group Bs over the last few years, I always believe the
140.
minimum you need to be right in the mix and be able to play with a bit of freedom is 4 points. So win 50% of your matches on the opening night. And I think with that expectation, you're not going to create unnecessary pressure.
Yeah, I've only seen in my time one person
97.
get 8 points and not qualify, and that was Sean Griffiths in a particularly ridiculous Group B with Fallon Sherrick and John Henderson.
Yeah, it was an unreal scenario how that played out. But yeah,
so
I always think 8 points minimum.
Shot of the first leg, Adam Lipscomb.
I did say up on the balcony, he's got to take some kind of inspiration from Ryan and
Second leg,
how
Ryan
he
to
dealt with
throw
defeat
first.
and bounce
Game on.
straight back. And that's what Adam's got to do here.
Somebody's woken up the big baby.
81.
Somehow it feels like that would be better in a Scottish accent. I'm not going to do it,
45.
but I know there will be a lot of people watching tonight cheering Adam on. And sometimes watching is worse than playing because you've got no control over what happens.
39.
But I think the ultimate in nerve shredders was when Ryan Finesse was in that 9-dart shootout, the
59.
very first in world darts, a 3-way 9-dart shootout. We have had another one since involving a certain Chris Mason.
Yeah, it's not
45.
very pleasant. You know, it's all right being part of history, but he'd rather have not been part of it because it is. Oh, it's such an unusual scenario to be in.
Now, you came through yours in 9 darts, but it actually went to extra time, didn't it, yours, with Tony O'Shea and another player?
Yeah, they had to have another visit.
85.
And Ryan Finesse did something magical in his 9-dart shootout. He got a maximum.
100.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that too often, just because of the anxiety levels. Well, they call Adam Lipscomb Big Baby. Of course, there's a couple
60.
of boxers with that.
Adam Iroquois, 157.
Notably heavyweights, of course, Gerald Miller, and a young fighter coming through called Jared Anderson. Look out for him, an American as well.
97.
Good thinking there. Coming back, should get 2 darts at tops for 2-0. And
96.
honestly say,
Adam Iroquois, 60.
although this is what oh, wow, that's a wild one. Yeah, that's adrenaline.
That's a real wild child.
20. Ryan
Good song,
Iroquois,
isn't it?
95.
It's a real wild one. That's really interesting. Why didn't you go
59.
for 2 double 19s
Adam
in that
Iroquois,
spot?
40.
Stay focused on the same section of the board.
For me, when my opponent is on a double,
Game shot on the
I'm
second
going-
leg, Adam Lipscomb.
Well, I'm going one or two ways, depending. I'm either going ball or treble 15
Third leg,
with a
Adam
single
to
15
throw
go
first.
tops.
Game on.
The Rod Harrington way of doing things.
Yeah.
He likes a treble 15 at the start of a combination.
125.
But 2-0 Lipscomb. I didn't see this coming.
It was that amazing 1-2-5 in the match play against Baxter, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is one of
96.
the premier finishes of the 1990s.
Yep. 1998.
100.
It was, yeah.
45 tops.
I'll never forget the double 5 he hit the next year. The look he gave that double 5 as if to say,
41.
please just go in.
Yeah.
The double 5 is not a double that we like, but
44.
there are some good stories on double 5.
Well, if you're very much a tops man, more of just an alignment change, but it's that
85.
fear of going inside. Adam Lipscomb averaging over 90 here. This is a
140.
This is a performance level I didn't expect to see from Finesse, especially the way he responded to defeat to Dracht, where he was drubbed 4-0.
35.
beating
Adam
Blommer
Iroquois
4-2.
92.
If anything, I expected it to be the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, he gives that a bit of a confused look, as if what on earth is going on,
68.
but recovers perfectly to leave 24 after 15. Furness way back on 2-4-4 after 12.
140. Adam Iroquois 24.
Double 12.
Game Sean the third
Isn't a
leg.
problem.
Adam Lipscomb.
This is a really good display from Adam. 3-0 up. He's got to do something because his
Fourth
leg
leg Ryan
difference is
to
at
throw
minus
first.
6.
Game on.
49 darts, Nico. So inside that 50 you mentioned to win 3 legs.
43.
Back in our Super League and county days when it was best of 5, that was the target. If you're going to win 3-0, do it in 50
140.
darts or less.
Were you one of those people who could memorize the 1-dart averages
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all of the numbers if you won 3-0? So you went from 30.06 to
63.
30.67 to 31.31, 31.98.
31.98 was one of my most regular
60.
ones, and I'd often missed a few darts at doubles to miss out on the Tum Plus.
Yeah, that was the 47 dart
Yeah.
3-leg burst. And then 32.67 for 44.
And then the one less was the biggie, the 45.
83.
Yeah, that was the 33.4, which totals the 100.2, which is a 15 dart leg, of course. Now, if you started to memorize the ones after that, then you
58.
are a proper darting nerd.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, you see.
41.
Well, Ryan's got a problem. In fact, he's got 2 of them because Adam is way ahead of him.
100.
And from 271, he's got to be super creative to get to 170 or better.
Yeah, correctly starting on 19s.
59.
Had the right idea.
Adam
He was looking at
Iroquois
101 or
143.
104
Yeah,
as
well,
a score.
if you hit the treble 19 in... Ooh. If you hit the treble 19, stay there. If you hit the single, go ball. The 25 leaves you 170. If you hit a straight ton,
87.
of course, you're on a bogey 171.
It's all gone wrong in this game for
Yeah,
Ryan.
he's at 1140 and
Adam Iroquois
1180.
56.
That's it.
No tons.
Game shot.
And he won't hit any at all because
Adam
that is
Lipscomb.
a great recovery from Adam Lipscomb, who averages over 91 in that 4-0 win. And he shows you, just for a second there, what it means to him. His doubling was exceptional. 4 hits from 6. And he has just got himself back in the mix. It means that 4 players in the table have 2 points and 1 has 4. And that person is playing Kevin Blommer next. And that person is Martijn Dracht.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Adam Lipscomb is off the mark now in Group B following a 4-0 success against Ryan Finesse, doing so over 91 average and 4 out of 6 on the doubles. Next up for us then, it is Kevin Blommer up against Martijn Dracht, being watched by Paul and Chris.
Thank you very much. And this one has a very familiar feel to it because it is the 4th meeting of these two this week and the first evening match. I was going to say of their trilogy, but they've already had a trilogy, and Blommer is winning that one so far by 2-1. But yesterday, it was Martijn that won a very key game. He won it in match 3.
First leg, Kevin to throw.
Or should I say round 3 of 5
Game
on
on.
Wednesday. And it set Kevin Blommer on a trail to Group B instead of Saturday night. After that, Blommer went on to lose
81.
heavily to Christian Kist, and his chances of making Saturday night with 2 days off to spare, well, it crumbled.
58.
So I wonder if Dracht is going to make things even more difficult for Kevin, who has lost since his first win in this group. To Ryan Finesse
85.
by 4 legs to 2 in game 4. It's all very tight in the table, Chris.
It is, and it could be only separated
59.
by a couple of points. It's only Drac that's unbeaten, so potentially 2 wins in his 2 final games, he can get to 8, but he's playing Blommer here.
93.
And then he has Lipscomb to play. Throughout this series 4, at the end of it, we'll
100.
be fastly approaching, Nico, a real milestone where we would have had a list approaching 300 different competitors in the Super Series.
I think that's amazing.
76.
I know. When you think of the availability, because you just think of sort of challenge tour players and WDF players,
100.
etc.
If you think that you can only get 12 players in a week, this year on the Challenge Tour, there have been 439 players.
Yeah.
And considering how many we are allowed to put in per week,
134.
Yeah.
I think that's a hell of an effort.
Yeah. And well, you've got to think as well, we've had to deal with
100.
COVID and
Kevin, you're
travel
over
restrictions.
32.
And if I may be brutally honest, some of the players on the Challenge Tour aren't good enough to be here.
Yeah, well, you get people on the Challenge Tour that maybe only play a couple of times and never bother again.
Game shot of the first leg, Kevin
Or just
Blommer.
play the odd Challenge Tour.
If I were to shrink the list of Challenge Tour players into the people who have
Second
played
leg,
a
Martijn
minimum
to
of,
throw
say,
first.
10
Game on.
events, we'd be talking around 300.
Yeah. And of course, now with the introduction of the ADC, we're getting players that have
57.
never even thought of playing Q School. They certainly will after their experience here, I'm sure.
One of the most exciting things about what we
81.
do is being introduced to new talents that we know nothing about, and the opportunity with the ADC to see people that we haven't seen in a very long time.
140.
Think about Tony Wood. I grew up playing Super League against Tony Wood every Thursday and hadn't seen him for over 15 years. And then he
100.
turns up here via the ADC.
Yeah.
I expect that to happen again.
I haven't seen him for years and years and years, and I played a lot of darts with Tony, did a lot of travelling with him.
100.
A good pal of mine. It was great to see him and catch up and reminisce over old times.
I'm sure there are people out there who you're dying to see qualify for this. I know there are people in my neck of the woods up in Northumberland
41.
and Tyne and Weir who I'd love dearly to get here.
Absolutely. I think that was what was wonderful about the week that
60.
I played in, and catching up with the likes of Tony O'Shea and Barry Bates and Gary Robson. It was fabulous.
57.
You are
Martijn, you're
looking at
over 144.
that are here via the ADC in Europe now. And because they have reputations from doing other things like the European Tour, where Martijn Drack did very, very well
88.
in Kiel at the Baltic Sea Darts Open back in February. He made the last 16.
Yeah, and that was after coming through the qualifier.
Yeah, I think he came through 7 matches to
Martijn
get to the
York
last 16.
56.
That is some effort.
More than what the player came through, wasn't it? Double
Correct.
3. Wow.
Round the houses.
50.
He was looking for a triple-double. And you only usually get them in basketball.
Yeah, I was going to say. Michael Jordan knows about a triple-double.
140. Martijn York 6.
Well, we've got double 13 and double 3. Well, he splits it 2 for double 2, and I like where he's landed that one.
Sandwich time.
Game
Right in the middle.
on the second leg.
Lovely
Martijn
jubbly.
Drack.
1-1. That was a real education, that leg, wasn't it, for people trying to keep score?
Third leg, Kevin. to
Education
throw
for us,
first.
Nico.
Game on.
It's nearly midnight.
Now, you don't want to ask that question to the person to your left or right. What's he on? Doesn't take long to figure out. He's actually gone from
100.
double 12 to double 9 to double 3 to double 2.
I think we're on our 85th game this week. I'm on my 189th consecutive match.
83.
The brain is fried. Grey matter is beginning to ooze out of the ears.
Yeah, we're talking about a format that can really
42.
test you physically, mentally, emotionally. And if you're Kevin Painter from this afternoon, boy, oh boy, that was
97.
really unfortunate what happened to him. No matter what he did, he tried so hard, and he did things that were unprecedented with equipment, but still found himself being completely
97.
blocked out by other dart players.
Yeah, he's been through the ringer this week.
I've actually texted Peter Wright and said that Kevin Painter's outdone you today by using 3 different
100.
flights, 3 different stems, in the same visits,
Yeah.
in 2 different matches.
And three completely different styles. From a standard
39.
to a... What was it? Sigma, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sigma, pear shape, and a standard. It almost feels like a joke.
105.
Sigma flight, a standard flight, and a pear shape flight. Walk into a bar.
Yeah, and of course he was playing predominantly on the treble 19s as well, with plenty of success.
Is Kevin going to stay on the 19s? I don't think it's the right play.
42.
No,
Martijn
going back up
York
top was the right play.
116.
Well, I personally would have probably gone for treble 18 there, just because it was a completely open bed. And I don't mind the 130.
56.
Kevin's not on a finish, so Martijn will be back for what looks like an easy 2-darter.
140.
And
Martijn
a break of throw.
York 60.
A break of throw he needs to win the match.
Double 10.
40.
And there is that dart. It looks in
Kevin
when it's in the
York
air, but it just
41.
veers to the right-hand side.
He's had a nightmare down there.
Game
And
shot
that's
of the
more
third
like it,
leg,
isn't it?
Kevin Blummer.
You can see from his reaction, he's been ice cold all week. But you can tell that it's not coming
Fourth
to him
leg,
as
Martijn
naturally
to throw
tonight as it
first.
has earlier in
Game
the
on.
week.
Yeah, giving each other a little bit too much respect in this one.
All right, we have had a tweet tonight at our
60.
MSS Darts account, so please get in touch if you wish. From Jeroen van Drummer, I hope I said that right, Jeroen. Saying to us that Blomme means flower, but only in the
41.
dialect spoken in the west of Flanders, the region near Bruges. Okay. In Dutch, the correct word for flower is bloem, which is also the Dutch word for flour to make bread.
180.
Every language has got its eccentricities. But thank you for getting in touch, Jeroen. Thank you for tuning in.
57.
Enjoy the action.
Well, that's what makes the English language so complicated, of course. We have words that sound the same, mean two different things, and are spelt differently.
140.
Only got to look at there, and there.
That was going to be my example as well.
2, 2, and 2.
134. Maritime, you require
Yeah.
121.
T-O-O, T-O, T-O-O.
85.
Well, Blommer's not going to pounce this time. He does have an explosive leg in him, does Martine?
Yep. Well, we've nearly seen the
89.
ultimate explosive leg,
Maritime,
didn't
you
we?
require
I
36.
think double 12 for the 9.
Game
Doesn't miss.
shot of the fourth
Double
leg,
18 for the
Maritime
13
direct.
in a level game.
Now, we can't ignore
Fifth leg, Kevin
the
to
level of
throw
Blommer
first.
tonight.
Game on.
Started the night with a victory, averaging 79. Losing with an 82. And now, averaging 79 again. If you look
60.
at what he's done this week, prior to this, it's a lot better. Over 87. We're talking about a difference, not in averages, but in visits.
140.
He's gone from 7 visit range, which is in tonight's play, to 6 visit range,
59.
really, for the rest of the week. That's a fair regression.
And like you're saying, it's an extra turn.
It's all well and good when your average comes down from something
85.
like 95 to 91. But when you're going from 87 to around the 80 to 79 mark, we're talking about a big, big drop.
And you're giving
45.
effectively giving your opponent another throw.
And at this level, that is a separator. If he played
140.
the way he did on Tuesday early, he'd be sitting on 4 points right now, and he'd be almost done for a 6th point already.
100.
There's been a lot
Maritime, you
more
require
movement from him.
136.
And in a funny sort of way, I think there's been less movement from Martine.
96.
Although vastly more experienced than Blommer.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That has to come into play at some point.
Just by virtue of playing in one Euro tour, but also
134.
and
Maritime, you
going
require
into the
40.
or getting to the last 16, but also
Game shot of the fifth
playing in
leg,
the
Maritime
company
direct.
of some top quality players.
That's 2 13-dart breaks he's had in
Six
this
leg
match
Maritime
now.
to throw first.
His average
Game on.
claims above 90. And he looks pretty ready to get the victory. 1 hold of throw away from another 2 points
140.
to get to 6 to remain undefeated. And at this stage, to have a 4-point gap at the top, that's quite unusual.
Yeah, well, he's stamping his authority now on the group. And
81.
his final match of the session will be against Adam Lipscomb, who just picked up his first win of the night in a
85.
decent display. So that will be a well, in fact, it's a very similar number to what we're seeing here from Dract, isn't it? Lipscomb won with 91.09.
60.
Currently, Dract is on 91.6.
And improving.
190.
Looks like he's going to win the 180 race in this one. Because I don't see another leg happening after this.
60. Maritime, you require 96.
That's okay. As long as he can set it up.
33.
Doesn't quite do that.
You know, we backed Adam in the opening game, and we said about Kevin, sort of just hits them and then doesn't hit them. Well, he hit 2 in that one. Not hit one since.
140. Maritime, you
How's your
require
Donald Duck?
63.
There you go. Now he's on a double.
43.
Well, Kevin is not
Kevin, you require
out of this yet, but this
160.
is a big ask for someone who's averaging 80.
Well, the drama Dract has had on tops and tens, I'd be
29.
going 18 there for double 16.
Marathon, you require
The way
20.
the angle his darts lie, I think double 16 is favourable target.
Well, you could easily go 12 double 4 here. There you can see that dart veering at the end. He's having to move left because of that.
15.
Oh boy.
Kevin, you
Of
require
course, if you opt for double 16,
131.
you got the breakdown. 32, 16, 8, 4, and eventually double 1.
75. Marathon,
He's
you
got to be
require
very, very
5.
careful. Remember, if Blommer can win this leg, he has the darts in the decider.
I wouldn't miss this if I were you, Martijn. He's thinking about it. He's just praying it goes in.
How can he get one in?
Game,
Well, he finds the
shot,
bottom
and the
corner.
match,
What
Martijn
a dart
Dracht.
that is from Dracht to win the match. 4 legs to 2. Ends with an average 8 points or so higher than Blommer. 86.2. The only 180s in the match. 2 of them coming from Dracht. Missed 10 darts at a double in the end. Well, we enter our final 3 matches. Up next, we start with Furness against Osborne.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Martijn Dracht get the better of Kevin Blommer by 4 legs to 2. And that means in terms of Martijn Dracht's night, it's been perfect so far. 3 from 3 for him. Next up, it's Ryan Finesse in action. He takes on Colin Osborne. It's a case of 1 win, 1 defeat for the pair. So who's going to make it on to 4 points? Here's Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason to find out.
Yes, let's find out, Henry. It's an interesting one for Colin Osborne, this, because the way he started tonight with that almost ton-topping average against Adam Lipscomb and 50% on doubles, all of the good memories of that have been wiped out because of his 4-1 loss to Martijn Dracht in game number 5. But he has got 2 of the last 3 games, so if he can put in a spurt, the guy from Middlesbrough, he could finish on 6 points and
First leg, Ryan, to
in with a
throw
chance
first.
of getting the top 3 on Friday night. But it will be Furness and Osborne for this one, and it is Ryan who finishes his campaign first.
Yeah, it was a real drop-off, though, wasn't it, by Colin in terms of levels in the early stages. He sort of recovered a little bit towards the back end to end with an 86-89, but... Well, there you go. That's what he does in response to having a rough one.
He's back. But then so is Ryan. This could be rather good.
Yep.
You know how much I like to critique things like dart shirts and everything that the players do, because let's face it, it is our job to do that. I think the jury's out on Ryan's shirt. I'm not sure that would find its way into my wardrobe.
58.
Having said that, I do have a golf shirt that's covered in dolphins.
Did you get it from Miami?
I didn't. I'm not a fan of the
100.
Miami Dolphins. They're in the AFC just like the Steelers. They're rivals. But what I do like is the look
174.
of that
Colin, you're
to leave
125.
And the possibility of the 125 is gone. But I do like the look of those darts.
47.
A bit of bronzing,
Ryan, you require
bit of black.
32.
Looks very sharp. Is it as sharp as Ryan Finesse here in leg 1?
No score.
Ooh.
Colin, you require 78.
Clear at a double to hold. Can Osborne punish 20 and tops?
Game shot of the first leg.
That's what he does.
Colin Osborne.
Lethal. Simple as that.
Second leg, Colin to throw
Golden
first.
chance, and you
Game
can
on.
see that Ryan is displeased with the fact that he is 1-0 down. 3 clean darts at double 16. Couldn't get it done. And the wizard pounces.
85.
It's almost like he had a spell ready in case Ryan Finesse could not find that 32, and it was
100.
78 Disappearo. That's probably the worst wizard joke I've ever made. I'm not up on
60.
things like Harry Potter and things like that, so I didn't know what to say, but I do try.
Quite
60.
thrilled to say I've never watched a single Harry Potter movie.
The only Harry I like to watch is Harry Ward.
100.
Big H. Great player from the Midlands. From the town of Swadlincourt in Derbyshire. And Colin's from that county as well. That's where he dwells.
140.
Just hold your horses there. He gave it half a 180 anyway.
That was a bit dramatic for a 140.
I love it. That was 140. Give it the full segue.
140.
Colin needed that 140 as well.
Think when you're someone who has gone through the kind of night that Colin has, an up and then a down, the thing that's going to make him feel better is clinical doubling. He's at tops again.
96. Ryan, you require 96.
He'd love 2 darts at double 18. That's what he gets. The awkward switch.
Game
As
shot on
we
the second
call
leg,
it.
Ryan Furness.
Colin couldn't watch. Well, it was a 15-dart break in leg 1
leg
in
Ryan
favour
to throw
of Colin
first.
Osborne. Ryan
Game on.
responds identically with a 15-darter break of throw of his own.
100.
You mentioned earlier that the darts of Ryan Furness are a model that I once put my signature on. It reminds me of a game I played once
140.
on the Pro Tour. I was drawn against a great young player called Ross Twell. And I noticed in the
93.
9 practice darts that we had that Ross was using the same equipment as me. He was using my darts. And I thought, you can't beat me with my own equipment. That is just wrong. So I
95.
played pretty well. Well motivated by the fact
And
that
it-
somebody was using my equipment against me.
And it's something we're seeing lot of late.
125.
because the development that goes into a player's dart, why wouldn't you as another player sort of go, oh, thanks for all that hard work you've done, I'll use them myself.
58.
Cheers.
You go into a manufacturer's engineer room at a place like Winmore or Red Dragon. And not to tease you too much,
140.
folks, but this is what it's like. Everybody's got their own little drawer with their name on, and in that drawer is every barrel that person's ever had made for them.
140.
Peter
Ryan
Wright's got his
43.
own wardrobe.
Warehouse. Yeah, I went in there and spent a bit of time with Lee, and well,
23.
well,
Colin, you
genius is a
require
word that's
68.
floated about, but I sort of described what I wanted, and like most creative artists, he went, "Oh, I sort of know what you mean," and then
Game shot on the third leg, Colin
So you were
Osborne.
saying about genius?
yeah, there was one just there. That's 3 consecutive breaks of throw, and all completed in
Fourth
15
leg,
darts,
Collins
and
to
then
throw
10
first.
minutes later, he goes, "What
Game
is
on.
that the kind of thing you're talking?" I went, "Oh my god!" And then I had a throw with him, and then right, I can see what's going on. Goes off, comes back, makes some adjustments, takes some weight out, or
81.
leaves some weight in, and they were those lovely darts that had the slight scallop in it with the wide rings that I get asked constantly. Have you got any? Have you got any? Nope.
125.
They're now on eBay trading for a canny few quid.
If you are a darts nut like we are, there are certain things you've got to
85.
see. Seeing how a dart is made in the barrel phase, seeing the stems made, especially the aluminium types,
100.
and then something that I saw a few months ago which blew my mind. Seeing all of the flights made
Yep.
coming out of a printer that's worth over £1 million.
140.
And how its design is put in there, how it's dried, how it's lacquered and everything like that. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's incredible.
44.
And how things have moved on. The technology and the equipment available now for putting certain types of
56.
grip patterns and lasers, and it is incredible.
Yeah, the CNC machines they use these days. You put all of these different figures into a computer, and then
85.
after that,
Colin, you
the
require
machine does all the work.
139.
Modern technology. You are welcome, darts people. That's not going to help. So Ryan gets a look at 147
28. Ryan, you require
Which will draw him level.
147.
and give us another break of throw. And this 111 should have been a lot less.
40.
Well, he just sort of
Colin,
left
you require
himself a little vulnerable,
111.
but Ryan Furness is not punished.
Treble 17, the target. He's nowhere near as sharp
51.
as his first game of the
Ryan,
night.
you require 107.
That was a very hard act to follow, in fact. Double top.
This will hurt.
67. Colin, you require
Now Colin
60.
can see a path to 3-1.
Well, he wanted 195, Nico. From that point, in 9 darts, he scored 135.
Game shot on the fourth
He scored
leg.
60
Colin
more.
Osborne.
So it is 3-1. It might not be his most vintage performance, but he's making a
Fifth leg, Ryan
91.5
to
average.
throw first.
Look fairly
Game on.
pedestrian.
I think he's aware, and it's something we talk of often, about how important sometimes
100.
isn't the performance, but it's getting the 2 points, and that's exactly what he's doing here. He's just going to graft and grind.
Yeah, there's no substitute for experience when it comes to playing
60.
this format. He's a marathon man, is Colin Osborne. He's a bit like Mo Farah. He's done a lot of long-distance racing over the last 2.5 years.
60.
And he's still got plenty of gas in the tank.
100.
Even when he's not getting the 140, that dart was thrown really well, and he gave it every chance. Surely. That had to be a 180.
180.
That's the third of this match. Both players averaging well into the 90s, despite a disappointing leg 4.
60. Ryan, you require 161.
Something tells me this game could go all the way. And strangely,
136.
as he goes for the bullseye on the 161, just wanted a bit of a highlight reel moment there, did Ryan. But weirdly, we've had no games go to leg 7 tonight.
80. Ryan, you
Cheers
require
for that,
25.
Have I just thrown the cat amongst the pigeons?
Well, Colin does have the
Game
insurance
shot of the fifth
policy
leg, Ryan
of
for
having
next.
the darts in the next leg, as Ryan hits our 4th
Sixth leg, Colin
15
to throw
darter
first.
of this match.
Game on.
Good standard. So if we
Always
are,
going to be, wasn't it?
yeah, it's a classy game with a lot of experience.
58.
Nothing's going to faze them. They've played a lot of late night darts as well. It's not as if they've been hanging out in Group A and Group C all the time. We're talking about two players who've played a
59.
lot of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night darts. In the hot room in Southampton, in the more preferred conditions
60.
here of Portsmouth, whether it's full of people or whether there's no people at all, every single condition they've played in.
140.
Yep, I think we're going all the way.
I think we are. Unless he can find a max.
137.
Not a bad second prize.
One dart ahead, as I like to say.
Yep. That one that finds the treble 20 is exactly that. As it was,
57.
Colin Osborne's held on to the throat.
It's starting to sound like Harry Styles there, saying as it was. Biggest song of 2022, that.
95.
Who's Harry Styles, mate?
He was in One Direction.
Oh, right,
He's a
yeah.
solo artist now.
I know who they are.
Very fashionable chap.
135.
Originally from Stoke.
Colin, you require
Used to work in a bakery.
151.
Nice to see when a working class kid can go on to do
64.
some remarkable
Ryan, you
things.
require
And that's what darts
110.
does.
Oh, very much a working class sport. Double 15.
Game
Ouch.
shot of the sixth leg, Ryan
fifth.
Furness.
15 dart leg in 6 played.
Well, let's look
Seventh and final leg,
why
Ryan
we
to throw
have
first.
this
on.
game going all the way. And look at Ryan Finesse's stats. 3 from 12. He's had lots of chances.
123.
Osborne, 3 from 4.
Yeah, majority of those chances, of course, came in leg 4, didn't it? Where we had the only leg that
78.
went over 15. But Ryan Furness has got him at it here.
They do have some similarities in the 140s, as you can see, but the ton plus scores is way ahead.
135.
Just remember, if you want to be part of Saturday night's frivolities here in Portsmouth, You can get in
135.
touch with us at dartshop.tv for a small booking fee. You can be here. And if you want a shortcut,
84.
there's a QR code for you. You can scan that and you can find your way to Portsmouth in less than 48 hours. We'd love to see you down here. So I'll leave it up there for another 2 seconds.
If you don't have the ability to do that shortcut, www.dartshop.tv. You would. Honestly, come down, give it a go. You will absolutely love it.
78.
So a bad sign from Osborne in the last visit was a bit mucky.
Yeah, well, that's one way of putting it.
41.
And it looks like
Brian,
Finesse is going to get
81.
himself a precious 2 more points going into Friday. He currently sits
49.
on 2 at the basement of the table. This is so open, this group.
And what I'm loving about Ryan is how he's dealt with the disappointment of losing the opening. He didn't just lose the opening game. He got gubbed 4-0. And the response is outstanding. Winning legs of 15, 15, 15 and 16. He trailed 3 legs to 1 before reeling off back-to-back 15s and a 16 to get over the line. An average of just shy of 94 for Ryan Finesse. And he goes from bottom into second place. When we come back, penultimate match of the session, Martijn Dracht against Adam Lipscomb.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Welcome back to the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where before the break we saw Ryan Finesse come back from behind to get the better Colin Osborne by 4 legs to 3. He trailed 3-1 in that game, and so he finishes off his campaign on 4 points. Our penultimate match of the evening sees a bookending battle at the top and bottom of the table. Martijn Dracht up against Adam Lipscomb. Watching this one, Chris and Paul.
Penultimate game then, and Martijn Dracht has got a chance to get 8 points from 8 and to be the top dog for Thursday night. He's had a good night, but is tonight going to be a good night? I'm no black-eyed pea, that's for sure. But I'll tell you one thing, he has been very, very good. Maybe not his best.
First
But
leg,
he's
Martijn
timed
to
things really
Rovers.
well. And he looks
Game
full
on.
of beans. He looks confident all of a sudden.
Well, he started off so well against one of the players shortlisted to, if not win it, go close to winning it
58.
in Ryan Finesse. And he thumped him 4-0 with that 60 dart spell for a 100 average and missed 5 darts for a
100.
double in the process. Then just went slightly off the boil, but played a out of sorts Colin Osborne, and he won 4-1 with an 86-29.
140.
Last time out, very similar, 1-4-2 with a 86.2 against an out of sorts Blommer.
140.
Lipscomb started with a 79-37 in a 4-2 defeat to Blommer. Then got bageled
49.
by a very good Colin Osborne, who would have, well, give most players a thumping. He averaged 98.5. And then, his best performance of the
100.
night, a 4-0 win over Furness with a 91.09.
Are we starting to see
85. Adam Muir
why
161.
Martijn Dracht has got a decent reputation? Because I have a funny feeling, and it's not just because he's won 3 games from 3.
57.
I'm looking beyond that. I'm looking at his confidence levels, his demeanour, even the amount of perspiration on his brow. He looks way more comfortable tonight than he was in
57.
Group A.
Adam Muir 104.
Agreed. Well, it was something that we discussed in depth of, are we just seeing through a small window of
44.
what
Martijn
Martijn Dracht's
112.
ability really is?
That's a lovely first start. How's dart 3? Just a
92.
bit jumpy.
Adam Muir 60.
Well, that's a mark for tops. Now that he's got a shot at it.
Amazingly, going to the
20.
right. I would have gone left there.
Martijn Muir
I mean,
20.
we did say that we felt Dracht had a big average
Game
in
shot
him.
on the
and
first leg, Martijn
he
Dracht.
did give us one tonight. He's give us our only ton plus average.
Second leg,
of the
Adam to
session.
throw first.
What it does
Game
ensure,
on.
regardless of what happens from here, we've had a ton plus average in every group.
Yep.
One tonight.
27.
We had one this afternoon, which was 102 from Scott Baker. We had a couple in Group A as well. One from Kevin Blommer, one from Christian Kist.
55.
And after speaking to you earlier in the week, because you were here last week, Chris, there was only one
95.
all week last week. So this week has delivered a little bit more than week 3.
Yeah, the amount of pens I went through
39.
last week will tell you that. There wasn't too much red pen about, pal.
Ah, that's a shame. Red pen's a good thing in
60.
darts. Means you've scored 100 or more. It's very, very quiet here past midnight in the Modus Live Lounge. We've both played up there late on a Thursday and a Friday night. It's a great place to concentrate, but that silence sometimes is deafening.
We're going to do a
140.
Gezi there and just pick it off the floor and slam it in. Yeah, I mean, it is.
81.
Well, we see some of the most ridiculous darts in the perfect conditions, which is the Pro Tour. They're in cubicles, they've got a marker, it's played in complete silence on pretty perfect
100.
boards. And I think that's why from time to time, those that settle in quickly here absolutely love playing in this. There's just no distractions.
See, that would beg the question, wouldn't it? Because we've talked
134.
about just
American
how
War
wonderful this throw
167.
is. I do wonder if we had a pro week,
130.
if we had an elite week here,
104.
what could they do?
Yeah, what could they achieve?
Double top. That
64.
was a very good try. But
Maritime
it
Euro
could well be
corner
2-0 Martine.
36. Game
There
shot
you
the
go.
second leg. Maritime
Very
direct.
tidy. And he's still living in that 86 range, which is proving to be very effective.
Third leg Maritime to throw first.
What kind of average
Game on.
would you expect? Let's say that we had the top 8 players in the world playing here. In fact, let's go a little bit further. We've got the top 12 in the world
59.
as it stands. So it'd be everybody from, and this is funny, Michael Smith at number 1 to number 12, which is Dave Chisnell.
140.
And he has the record for the European Tour of 118 plus. So you'd have Van Gerwen, Wright, Price, Cross, Humphreys, Clayton, Noppert,
59.
Aspinall, Vandenberg.
Why do I think it was 118.66?
It is.
Yeah.
Against
So
Mark Webster.
so
Sorry, Mark.
It's identical to our record here.
44.
It is.
Well, not in this venue, but
So with those 12 players, for 1 week only, what do you think the highest average would be in best of 7?
over 120.
93.
I agree. In these conditions, on this throw, with those players in this form, I think 120 would be broken.
140.
Yeah, especially in a best of 7 format. You could quite easily see them go 11-12, 11-12.
I'd still like to see somebody break the 120
60.
before the end of the summer. I think it's way more likely to happen here than the previous venue.
Yeah.
137.
Good leg from Adam. Tops after 12.
Needed it. And it's a break back.
Yeah, it's
100.
one of those moments when you got your sticker
Adam
album out.
40.
Got it. Need
Shot
it.
the third
Got it.
leg. Adam Lipscomb.
I like that. 13 darter, best leg of the match. And the
Fourth leg, Adam to
break
throw
back. Can he
first.
build on that?
Game on.
It's a very apt word to have on your flights, isn't it? Marathon.
100.
He's not talking about an old Snickers bar either.
Used to like them, Nick.
Well, stop, shouldn't I?
95.
Because
Peanut butter is just got. What can I have it on? I just have to eat out of the jar. Full of protein. Are you a smooth or a
140.
crunchy peanut butter? man?
crunchy. I don't trust people who are like smooth.
Now, do you put butter on your toast as well as the peanut butter?
No. I understand people
50.
who do, because it can come off a bit dry and cloying.
Yeah.
96.
Yeah, but there's a certain brand I like as well.
Yeah.
I'm a proper peanut butter snob.
I know exactly the one because I have exactly the same. Do you keep it in the fridge?
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
actually.
same.
You know what I used to put on top of
85.
it when I was younger? Beetroot. Beetroot and peanut butter. It's a revelation.
What?
125.
That'll do. Oh, look. I feel like I've gone back in time. My time machine works. Tops after 12.
77. Adam Euro
Posh
corner
brand of
40.
peanut butter. that we both enjoy. You can also make your own chicken satay with it.
That's very true. Oh, it's
20.
a flight clatterer.
Yeah, that was awkward. Fortunate. I mean, it would have been back-to-back 13s.
He won't mind. He's still coming back.
58. Adam, you're
Draw
on
level.
20.
He's got a leg difference of -2. So the best he can do tonight is 4 points with an all-square leg
Game
difference.
shot on the fourth leg.
That's
Adam
the first step
Lipscomb.
up the ladder. He's won 2 straight. There's no reason why he can't do it again to win the match. To deny
Fifth
the
leg,
perfect
Martine
night
to
to
throw
Martine.
first. Game on.
We look at the leg difference of the players and it will come into play. You just know it will.
57.
Tracked on +9. Miles ahead of anybody else.
I always look at that as a bit of a tell
30.
on terms of how dominant they are at the top. If they've got better leg difference than the amount of points they have, then that tells me they've been dominant.
100.
There's a nice focus about Martine tonight. He's not getting as flustered as he was
60.
earlier in the week. Well, Finesse has finished on 4 points for the night. He's currently sitting in second
58.
position, but I get the feeling that that's not going to last because his leg difference has finished at -5. Thanks to losing
85.
4-0.
Yeah, if either one of Colin Osborne or Kevin Blommaert, who play our final match, either one of those, whoever wins, will go into second position on leg difference.
44.
This is a big turn. Needs something sizable. In a funny sort of way, I was going to say something then. It felt like I was
100.
insulting him. I was going to say, come on, you big baby. But that's his nickname.
There's a
45.
real opportunity to get stuck in on the drag throw.
He did have a bit of a wobble earlier, didn't he, when he played his second game? Only averaged in the mid-70s.
82.
Only got one shot at a double against Osborne. But since then, he has picked himself off the floor and played some decent stuff.
Just like something he's
60.
renowned for.
Adam, you're
tonight,
on
and that's 180s.
144.
Did take a look at his stats earlier, and he hits a few of them. Treble 16.
88.
Treble 8 for tops.
Martine,
Don't
you're
mind
on
that. Either or works.
137.
Hang on to your hat.
If I was wearing one, Nico,
97.
I would have done
Adam,
had
you're
that top's gone in.
56.
The only hat you want to ever take off is a Nacho hat.
Game shot on the fifth leg.
And I
Adam
take my hat off
Lipscomb.
to Adam because that was wonderful.
Yeah, 3 on the spin pull. Trail 2-0.
Sixth leg, Adam to
I
He was
throw
leading
first.
2-0 earlier
Game
in the
on.
match against Blommer, wasn't he?
Yeah, I asked you a question at the start of game 6.
85.
Would Adam be happy with 2 points going into Friday night? Right now, asking that same question, absolutely not.
81.
No player will be happy to just be on the 2 points after the opening night of a
82.
Group B. I think you need a minimum of a 50% strike rate.
You mentioned that he was really disappointed not getting through the last time he was here. I have a funny feeling
95.
that he's going to have a sleepless night tonight because he's going to be involved in a melee of dart players for Friday. He's got 4 points.
125.
There's going to be another person on that mark with somebody above them. It's going to be a real tussle on Friday. You will not want to miss it.
Yeah, if Adam can
100.
turn this lead into a win, we'll have 1 on 6 and 3 on 4. It couldn't be any tighter,
99.
considering the start Dract has made.
Back to the 20s. He's got to be careful with this shot, you know.
46.
That's why. He was
Adam
probably better off going the other side.
110.
It's fraught with danger.
As a consequence of that,
70.
Adam's got 2 visits to take care of this match. Martijn has not lost all night.
139.
But he might suffer
Adam,
defeat
require
before he
40.
goes to bed. Double 10. How valuable
20.
could they be?
Wow. How costly will they be? Because it was a
Martijn, you
great
require
139.
40.
Just to pile on a bit of scoreboard pressure from Dracht.
Game
And he
John on the sixth
converts.
leg, Martijn Dracht.
179 in 4. A breaker throw, and we go to a
Seventh and final leg,
deciding leg now.
Martijn
My
to throw
colleague mentioned
first. Game on.
during our previous match that we've not had a match go all the way.
Oops. I'm going to bring something up as well.
You're doing the pots
85.
tomorrow.
Yes. Monday and Tuesday, we talked about someone who has the somewhat similar look to
100.
Adam Lipscomb. Bit of facial hair, no hair on the old bonnet. Christian Kist. He had one bad game in him on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. He lost it on Monday, and one of the reasons why he went
100.
through Group A is because he found the knack of winning his bad game.
Yep.
Is this the game that Martijn Dracht is not
100.
going to play his best in, but still wins it?
Still pick up the 2 points. He needed a favour from Lipscomb, and the favour
66.
was missing tops and tens with 3 in hand.
Tired arms, tired minds,
45.
tired people. Halfway point for both players after 9.
Yep.
The smooth nature of that throw, well, it's a little bit better
96.
until dart 3. But 1 treble visits, they're pretty priceless.
60.
Now
Martijn,
he's
you
got
require
6 at 154.
154.
Right now, he'd take leaving 54 or something in that region. He
47.
can't. Adam is still in this game.
Yep.
Oh, watch out. I thought he was going to get a maximum there. And he walks away with a 140.
He's definitely due one.
Martijn, you require
How quick
107.
this leg has turned on his head. I can't believe he's going for a 20 on 107.
He gets a shot,
89.
but he misses a match start.
Adam, you require 56.
Double 12, unexpected. Double 6,
50.
and he's missed match darts plural
Martijn, you require
in 2
18.
legs. Just how costly will that be? Match dart 3, and he takes a step away. He desperately wants to be undefeated tonight. And that he is.
Shot and the match.
He will top the
Martijn
table
Dracht.
overnight, and Adam Lipscomb is going to have nightmares about the last couple of legs because he had shots to win that match by 4 legs to 2 and 4 legs to 3, and ultimately he's on the wrong side of it. So he will finish the night on 2 points, and he will have more work to do on Friday night than he thought he might have to do. When we come back, it will be Osborne and Blommer finishing off our proceedings here on Thursday night and Friday morning.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Martijn Dracht has completed a perfect card for the evening. Perhaps fitting on the first day of the Test match summer here in England. Martijn Dracht has hit the boundary for 4. He got the better of Adam Lipscomb in the last leg decider for him. 1 win from his night. We're going to conclude our evening with the battle between Kevin Blommer and Colin Osborne, and this is being watched by Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason.
Yes, let's get it on then. Game number 10. And the final game of a double day here at the MODUS Super Series.
Another one tomorrow, Nico.
Yeah, let's bring that on as well. Loving it. Let's face facts. It's been a great day of darts. We've seen some ups and downs. Lots of great performances from some fabulous players, but only 6 of them can play on Saturday night. In fact, only 5 of the players that we've seen today can go through to Saturday night, because Christian Kist is tucked up in his bed right now, probably in
First leg, Collins
snoozy
to
land,
throw first.
thinking, you know
Game
what,
on.
I've done my hard work. You guys can stress it out for the rest of the week. I'll see you at 7 o'clock on Saturday night in the practice room.
And, well, we're still certainly none the wiser
32.
from Group C who's going to qualify, because there's only 2 spots available there, and 3 players are locked on the same points.
140.
3 from this 5 will go through. The dominant force in terms of the table is Martijn Dracht, who has gone 4 from 4. He's on 8, and
91.
whoever wins this one is still going to be 2 wins, 4 points off of Martijn Dracht.
And the fact that he's got Lipscomb
9.
first tomorrow night in game 2 means that if he does the double over Adam, he'll be safe no matter what happens
60.
elsewhere. This one will be the first game come Friday night at 10 o'clock. One of these players is hoping to do the double there, and if, for example,
59.
Colin Osborne does it, he'll go to 6 points into his second match, which will be against Ryan Finesse. That would be his first game. I actually think
140.
that suits Colin. It's an intensive sort of schedule to try and get yourself in the mix.
Well, you asked me if 8 points would be enough. I think 10 is, like you say,
98.
it's pretty much a shoe-in. I think 8 points will be enough to get you the 3rd and final spot available from the group. All Saturday night's
96.
final. Well, I can, at this stage, I can say tomorrow night's final.
Well, this could be the latest game we have this week, because our finals do
90.
start a little bit earlier these
Colin
days,
Uruguay, 82.
around 7:30, and the final on Saturday night around 11 o'clock. So these late games, experience tells.
38.
Colin Osborne's done this before.
Kevin Uruguay,
Kevin hasn't played this late
105.
before, I'm thinking.
No way. And it's time management, isn't it? But Blommer, 90, can still do it. Not now.
35.
That action has not looked that
Colin
erratic at
Uruguay,
any point.
44.
And it can't be ignored anymore. Double top.
And because he has played all week, not only will he be... He's
Game
mentally
on the
been
first
put
leg,
through the
Colin
ringer,
Osborne.
but physically now, he'll be beginning to feel it.
Just the
Second
little
leg, Kevin
mannerisms.
to throw
I'm
first.
starting to
Game on.
remember what he was like on Monday and Tuesday. He looked cool, calm, collected. But now we're starting to see fingernails bitten.
Well,
and
it's his 19th
81.
match. So in terms of just hockey time alone, you're looking at, what, around 3 hours?
yeah, well, think about
30.
what kind of crease time you're talking about in creating a century. I don't know off the top of my head how many hours Graham Gooch was at the crease when he had 333 against
59.
India in 1990, or even when Brian Lara playing for Warwickshire had 500 runs.
Was it not 501?
It was, yeah, it might have been actually. Imagine how long that took.
93.
It couldn't have taken more than 5 days.
But yeah, and it's not only, like you say, the hockey time, it's the time
100.
you spend in preparation, pre-match and post
Yeah, it does accentuate what you do in between games.
121.
He's well over 20 hours just in the venue alone.
140.
I hope he likes the place. A good response from Kevin, considering what happened, or the lack of what happened
48.
in leg
Kevin, your
one.
require
See with
121.
Colin, that backswing is not going back far enough, and it's just shortened up, and it's making him a little bit stabby with the
31.
darts, and you can see them going through the air and weeping all over the place.
10th games of Group B are very
90.
rarely
Kevin, you
high-quality
require
matches at
90.
1 o'clock in the morning. We're talking about getting it done, just being a little bit patient.
Martijn Dracht style.
50.
Winning with an 82 average, having
Colin, you
15
require
darts at a double.
119.
Yeah, and there's also a bit more of a break in the wrist, and it's creating a little bit of a flick from Colin.
59.
Now, Kevin, can
Kevin,
you
you require
equalise?
40.
It's a mid-70s average game so far.
Game shot on the second leg, Kevin
But
Blummer.
as far as the doubling is concerned, it's pretty useful. 2 looks it was for Colin.
Third leg, Colin to throw first.
Found one of them.
Game on.
1 out of 1 for Kevin. How do you think Colin's feeling about his
100.
night?
Not good, especially with how it started. He looked $1 million, didn't he?
134.
He looked why he was favourite to win the group.
That's the beautiful thing about inflation. It gives you some sort of indication as to what $1 million looks like.
100.
Back in 1985, $1 million looked like $1 billion. Now $1 million can, well, you look in certain parts of the UK, you can't even buy a house with 3 bedrooms for $1 million.
58.
A parking space in London for about $1 million.
Give it another 10 years, I'm sure that the
97.
World Darts Championship will be for around $1 million.
Almost enough to buy your house, Nico.
I'm not Bobby George.
43.
How many bedrooms does his house have? It's a lot, I know that.
I want to say 10.
100.
I should know. I spent enough time there.
That's the right thing to do on 266. That was a risky shot.
96.
Because
Colin, you
19
require
puts a 7 at the end. He
104.
should have gone back up north with dart 2, but it paid off. Slightly awkward now on dart 2. Can he slide it underneath? There was an argument for treble 16 there.
Yeah, and he could have
56.
stayed there, of course,
Kevin, you
had
require
he
170.
not found the treble.
Are we going to get a 170 finish this week? We've had a 164,
28.
and we've had people
Colin, you
really
require
close to things like
48.
160s. We've had a 155 from Kevin Painter.
We've had some attempts, haven't we?
We've had an incredible amount of attempts at it.
38.
Well,
Kevin, you
142 is
require
one of my favourite finishes.
142.
I like the 17s on this one. Because now you go bull,
And then
trim off
treble
to 25.
25. Colin, you require 10.
He didn't read the script.
Game
Aussie
shot
did.
on the third leg,
It's
Colin
2-1.
Osborne.
Just imagine
Fourth leg,
if
Kevin to throw first.
this
Game on.
schedule was different. Imagine if we were back at playing 9:30 on a Friday morning and we put Group B
97.
on a Friday morning after a Thursday night. Just how hard that would be.
Torture, wasn't it? I just wouldn't have gone to, I wouldn't bother going to bed.
140.
It's a viable plan, actually.
Just brought a little camp bed in and a very light duvet, and that would have been my lot.
60.
I have actually seen that in the previous studio, where there was such a little gap between sessions that some of the staff slept in the studio. But that happens at many a studio
97.
around the world, especially in stations where they have a breakfast show.
Yeah. And Box Nation, they used to go on to the early hours and maybe then
92.
a fight the next day from Asia, and they just have a quick kip and get
65.
back on air.
I once slept in an elevator at work. I got stuck in it.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, that was particularly hairy because I was leaving my floor at 9:30 at night after doing a seminar. The lift got stuck. They couldn't fix it. I ended up sleeping in that elevator and I was freed at about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
101.
Job I don't like.
Kevin,
you
you
know,
require
I'm all right with
112.
heights and claustrophobia and things like that. Just a little adjustment for the 60.
Couldn't quite get over the top, so 48 for 24.
56.
Or can
Colin,
Colin
you require 98.
extend the lead to 3-1?
This will be a backbreaker. Doesn't show any sign of
78.
weakness there on his face. He knows he's
Kevin,
just
you require
having to stay
56.
patient and hoping that he gets another chance
He's
for 3-1.
trying to not give anything away. Double 4,
Game shot on the fourth leg, Kevin Blummer.
2-2.
We have a Desmond game.
Fifth leg, Colin to throw first. Game
An
on.
interesting 56 he just had. Double dipping in the green. And for someone who has not played his best session by any means, that's a somewhat
100.
difficult conversion to book, isn't it?
Oh, it's a big adjustment, isn't it? Bottom left to top right. Not sure how much he
93.
knew about the 48.
Based on what we've seen from him this week, I would hazard a guess that that was not intentional.
22.
Yeah, well then why not go 20 double 18? I know he's not a big fan of tops. Mainly because he's had, when he has
80.
left it, he's had an absolute nightmare on it. And 10's a bit like dragged.
Fascinating to me that you look at some players at this point of the night. Now, for me, Kevin looks tired. He has played for the last 3 days, admittedly.
57.
Kevin has got a lot more games completed than Colin, who was only in his 4th for the week. And like you eloquently mentioned, Chris, it's 19 for Kevin. But Colin looks so much fresher.
95.
Well, he'll have come in fresh. The only disadvantage, I think, is when you're playing someone and they come in a bit cold, as we've seen from Ryan tonight.
100.
You only need one match under your belt and you're up and running. Well, Colin Osborne hit the stage running tonight with that 4-0 win where he averaged 98 and a half.
72.
Since then, he's not been able to replicate anything close to that level.
He had such wishes for that visit after the first dart 60, and it turned to dust. Leaving 112 was not part of the
97.
plan.
Colin, you require 112.
Things could get very sticky indeed if he doesn't take this out. Nail-biting stuff for Kevin Blommer.
72.
Look at that. Right on the
Kevin, you
wire.
require
You
74.
can see his facial expression. 20, he's got no choice but to leave tops.
Not so much a move. What a shuffle.
34. Colin, you require 40.
Second attempt. And then visit 7. He could take the lead. He can't.
20. Kevin, you
Now
require
it's visit 7 for
40.
Kevin.
Would he be in seventh
Game
heaven?
shot
He
on the fifth
is.
leg, Kevin
A
Blommer.
breaker throw and a 3-2 lead.
7 Blommer.
Sixth leg, Kevin to throw first.
He can't believe
Game
he's
on.
in the lead. I can't believe he's in the lead. Colin Osborne is furious that he's in the lead. And his ability to finish jobs off this week has been excellent.
140.
Just a reminder that Colin had 4 darts to win that previous leg. And now he's got to start all over again
60.
to try and give himself a chance of leading at the end of the night. Otherwise, Osborne is going to be in the bottom
100.
2. Adam Lipscomb is guaranteed now to be in 5th place going into Friday night.
96.
Blommer wins. He will go to 3rd. Osborne will go to 4th. But it will still be tight.
$86.
He's not happy with it. But if he wants cheering up, look at the scores as they stand. He's got company.
140.
That was a very, very kind deflection that the Wizard got on dart 3. But the good news turns rather sour
99.
as he stares at Kevin leaving a 2-darter to defeat him. Everything looked so rosy after a 4-0 win against Adam Lipscomb in
97.
Game 3.
Kevin, you require 76.
But he could lose every match from that point. Double 4,
72.
and he may have to wait.
Colin, you require 102.
Skin saving time for Colin.
78.
And he's going to need a very big Friday
Kevin,
night
you
by the looks of
require
it.
4. Game
Kevin
shot
Blommer
and a
goes
match,
into the top
Kevin
3
Blommer.
and is now actually 2nd on the list with an even leg difference and 4 points for his efforts. He gets 50% of the wins that he craved at the start of the night. It was not a classic, but when it comes to Game 10 in Group B on night 1, it's all about just amassing points that puts you in the reckoning. Osborne has more to do than Blommer, but they will be the first match when it comes to Friday night from 10 p.m. To finish up the show, we've got Henry up on the balcony talking to Chris.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Chris, Colin Osborne got off to such a good start tonight, but then it just kind of wavered from that point onwards.
Yeah, quite bizarre. Started off with a 98.56, looked super confident. Every aspect of his game looked to be in good nick. And then just hit a brick wall and went right off the boil. And he's in a spot of bother. You know, he was tipped as our favourite to win this group and possibly go on to win the week. He's in a world of trouble.
He most certainly is, because as we have a look at the league table now, we can see Martijn Dracht at the top of the table, the perfect night for him. And there were 4 victories and kind of different types of victories as well.
Yeah, he just showed a slightly different element to his game where he's prepared to just knuckle down and maybe win ugly. And he'd have learned a lot from playing in Group A, of course. Blommer just about rescued his night with that win over Colin Osborne, where the only real good part of that game was the finishing 4 from 7. I think Ryan is another player that will feel like he's underachieved tonight alongside Colin Osborne, who is joint bottom, only separated on 1 leg difference with Adam Lipscomb.
As for Adam Lipscomb, will he feel opportunity missed in his last game?
Yeah, for sure. He had multiple darts, I think 5 in the end to get it done. And again, it was very much the situation we've seen there with Blommer and Colin Osborne. It was all about just rescuing your night. And for me, minimum requirement is just winning 2 of your 4 matches. So, yeah, Lipscomb and Osborne got it all to do tomorrow night.
Set up quite nicely now.
It certainly is, yeah. And Group C is exactly the same. Can't pick a winner from there at the moment, with 3 of them all on 8.
Rinse, repeat, go again tomorrow. Right, we're going to get our shut-eye, and we're going to be back with you at 1 o'clock tomorrow on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel before the action returns from 3 o'clock here on Sporty Stuff TV. And, well, when it came to the nighttime session here at the Super Series, Martijn Dracht won 4 games.